What's the dollar? Who's listening?
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Thursday, December 13th, 2018. This is your award-winning Gitmo Nation Media Assassination, episode 1094.
This is No Agenda.
Proud to be the other Curry and broadcasting live from the capital of the Drone Star State here in downtown Austin, Tejas, in the Cludio. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where the train hasn't showed up yet, but the traffic has. I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
You got the traffic. Traffic's about to get really good here in Austin.
Oh, that's good news.
No, it's very bad news. The traffic in Austin is already horrible, and today we hear this announcement.
Apple now saying it's going to invest $1 billion in a new campus in Austin, Texas. The campus will be 133 acres and will accommodate 5,000 employees at first, with the capacity later on for up to 15,000 in total. It'll be located less than a mile from Apple's existing Texas facilities and will make it the largest private employer in Austin. Apple says it will house a range of jobs in engineering, R&D operations, finance, sales, and customer support. The company also expanding its operations and adding more than 1,000 jobs in Seattle, San Diego, and Culver City, California as well. So it isn't an HQ2 Amazon style, but it's a big investment in Austin.
Austin's already their biggest outpost outside of headquarters. I think they have something like 6,000 people there already.
I spent some time with them, I remember, last year. And Austin's just such a robust city when it comes to technology. It's pretty remarkable what's going on there.
Oh, it's remarkable what's going on here. It's nothing to do with technology. This is the people part of the business. Get real, CNBC. This is payroll, accountants, content management, no technology. It's all the sales support. I know people who work here. You know, it's like the store support, so the support for the stores themselves who have a lot of issues. All of this stuff. This is people town. It's not exciting. Stay away.
I think they put them in South Carolina or someplace where people are pleasant.
Yeah, but the problem is
we have such a sweet voice.
We have such a fantastic tax structure in the state of Texas.
Oh, yes, there you go.
You see, this is why you put the people here. That's what it's about.
Yeah, they don't have to pay personal income tax on the state level.
It's great.
Like California, it's like 10 plus percent, 10 to 13%.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
State tax.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so where would you rather live if you're making a lot of money at Apple?
Well, Northwest Austin, apparently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I thought you said the traffic's going to get better. That's what I thought you said.
Oh, no. It'll just get worse.
No, this has got to be it's already a mess there. It's got to be the worst thing. It's going to become worse than anywhere.
Yeah.
The 405 will be looked at as, wow, this is cool. You can go so fast.
I don't think we're in any danger of that happening. But dream on, California boy. It's not good. I'm not very happy with this development. We're moving out of downtown, that's for sure.
Where are you going?
Well, either we move really nearby, south of the river. Or maybe we'll go really south. Maybe we'll go to Dripping Springs or somewhere, just way out of the way. Dripping Springs is nice.
Dripping Springs.
Why is that so fun?
Sounds like some sick person.
That's where all the rock stars live, man.
Dripping Springs.
Dripping Springs, yes. Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's great.
Yeah, go down and move down there with them.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, hey, Banger's Ball.
Now, where does that come? Oh, because of all the old rock stars? No. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey, everybody. It's Adam Curry here in Dripping Springs. Yeah, that'll go over well.
Dripping Springs.
There's a lot of things going on in the world, although you wouldn't know it if you watched American television news.
No, we're pretty preoccupied with, Cohen. Cohen is going to jail for 3 years.
And Trump's going to jail. Everyone's going to jail.
Yeah, Trump's going to jail. He's going to be locked up. Going to lock him up.
Yeah, exactly. Again, just completely unwatchable. The only thing that was watchable was and I liked it a lot, was the little show that Trump, Pelosi, and Schumer put on in the Oval Office.
Was pretty entertaining. Everybody who went to it thought it was entertaining, and they said, I've never seen anything like it. Well, there you have it.
I think that's the way it should always go.
Yeah, everything should be new.
No, everything should be out in the open. And and what was really
shows you what a douchebag. I mean, Schumer's sitting there rocking like he's got Asperger's, and he barely looks at the president once in a while, and then he says stupid stuff that he thinks is funny. Pelosi repeats herself, and she's stammering, and she's upset about everything for no good reason, and he's goading the two of them.
What I found interesting was how, at least on Twitter, which is kind of the only place I can still go and find some outrage, it was, the classic two sides. Everyone saw it in their own favorable light. The Trump fans, he wiped the floor with him. The Pelosi Schumer fans, he hit a brick wall. She showed him. It was completely open to interpretation, which I think is just one of the interesting things of our time. It's become quite interesting. I agree. I thought the media's, because of course this was I think the full episode of the reality show lasted about 10 minutes. What I found interesting is how it was cut up and what pieces were pulled out. And the one that I'll play for you is what the BBC did with it.
Oh, that would be a nice contrast with what CBS did with it, which is what I have.
Do you want to do BBC first or CBS?
Well, let's think. What would be...
They're probably very similar. I think about it.
Actually, BBC, I think, hates Trump more. Let's go with CBS, which is a long clip.
Okay.
Because they really got such a kick out of it. And by the way, I'm not sure I even have the intro on this clip, but it's funny. It's pretty funny.
And then we have the easy one, the wall. That'll be the one that will be the easiest of all.
That was President Trump's attempt at a joke in his first face-to-face meeting with Democratic leaders after the midterm elections and with a partial government shutdown 10 days away.
The shutdown is not worth anything, and that you should not have a Trump shutdown. You have them at the White House.
Did you say Trump shutdown?
Democrats came to the White House hoping to...
Yeah, that was kind of glossed over, but I thought that was very good what she did. She kind of basically pulled a Trump on him and said, we can't afford a Trump shutdown. And he caught it.
Yeah, well, he called her out on it.
Yeah, but it was inaudible, and CBS just glossed right over it here.
CBS glossed over, but I should mention this. I think as he was calling her out on it, he was thinking to himself, hey, I'll take it.
Why didn't I just call it the Trump? Yeah, you're right. Which is kind of where he ended up.
Yeah.
By saying, I'll be proud. Oh, interesting.
10 days away.
The shutdown is not worth anything, and that you should not have a Trump shutdown. You have them at the White House.
Did you say Trump shutdown?
Democrats came to the White House hoping to brand any shutdown with the president's name. The toughest issue? Future funding of Mr. Trump's proposed wall on the southern border. The president wants $5 billion for construction of the wall, passed now while Republicans still have control of the House, while the Democrats are only offering $1.3 billion to fund broader border security measures.
Can you have border security without the wall? There's a commonality on border security.
The wall is a part of border security.
Are you redefining what it means to have border security?
Yeah. We need border security. The wall is a part of border security. You can't have very good border security without the wall.
That's not true. That is a political promise.
The political fencing intensified.
And the experts say you can do border security without a wall, which is wasteful and doesn't solve the problem.
It totally solves the problem.
Democrats arrived fresh off a 40-seat midterm gain in the House.
We've gained in the Senate. Excuse me, did we win the Senate? We won the Senate.
When the president brags that he won North Dakota and Indiana, he's in real trouble.
As now having extended family in the great state of Indiana, being a half Hoosier, I'm incredibly insulted by this.
Yeah, it was insulting, Schumer's comment.
Although I asked Tina, and she's like, I don't give a crap. That's okay. I think
They mentioned our name. That's a plus.
She identifies more with Chicago. But, it just seems like a dumb thing to do. It politically doesn't matter. But other states who, are kind of flyover, I think that might have been a minus point for Schumer.
Excuse me, did we win
the
Senate? We won the Senate.
When the president brags that he won North Dakota and Indiana, he's in real trouble.
I did.
Let me say this.
We did win North Dakota.
This is the most unfortunate.
In a unique White House, the legislative clash was in a class by itself.
And we're entering into this kind of a discussion in the public view.
But it's not bad, Nancy.
No.
It's called transparency.
I know. It's not transparency when we're not stipulating to a set of facts.
At one point, the president tried to speak for the likely Speaker of the House to be.
You know, Nancy's in a situation where it's not easy for her to talk right now, and I understand that.
Please don't characterize the strength that I bring to this meeting as the leader of the House Democrats who just won a big victory.
Elections have consequences, Mr. President.
Let me just say.
And that's why the country's doing so well.
The back and forth landed, it appears, where both sides wanted it. A televised political standoff.
20 times you have called for, I will shut down the government if I don't get my wool. None of us have said.
You want to know something?
You've said it.
Okay, you want to put that on my...
You said it.
I'll take it.
Okay, good.
You know what I'll say? Yes. If we don't get what we want, I will shut down the government.
Okay,
absolutely.
fair enough.
And I am proud, and I'll tell you what, I am proud to shut down the government for border security, Chuck. I'm not going to blame you for it.
Leader Pelosi, vying to be the next House Speaker, told Democrats in a private meeting the encounter here at the White House with the president, quote, goes to show you, you get into a tinkle contest with a skunk, you get tinkle all over you. As for the president's continued push for the wall, Pelosi said, and again I quote, it's like a manhood thing for him, as if manhood could ever be associated with him.
This was really interesting because this was a quote that came from an unnamed source, and they're kind of reporting it as it had really happened.
Yeah.
Do they even say a source? Or what? Let me just go back for a second.
No,
to be the next House
straight up.
Speaker told Democrats in a private meeting the encounter here at the White House with the president, quote.
Yeah, because I saw the reporting on it. It was just because I was like, oh, is there a clip of this? And this is what I need to clip. No, there's no clip of it. It was just something that someone said she said.
Goes to show you, you get into a tinkle contest with a skunk, you get tinkle all.
Oh, I'm not saying she didn't. It's just the reporting that bothers me. That's all. Just that little disclaimer would have been worthwhile.
All over you. As for the president's continued push for the wall, Pelosi said, and again I quote, it's like a manhood thing for him, as if manhood could ever be associated with him. For his part, the president said border security and wall funding is common sense and a political winner, even if wrapped around a government shutdown. Jeff?
Okay. Just remarkable. Major Garrett's right in the middle of all of it today. Thank you, Major.
Oh, my goodness. Just remarkable.
Well, I got the ISO of that for the end of the show because I think it would reflect on the show.
Ooh, that's a good one. Let me listen.
Just remarkable.
Yeah, I also have one that I'll get to later. That's definitely a contender, for sure. Now let's go to the BBC. Significantly shorter, but you kind of get their slant on it.
Pleasure.
And of course, we'll bring you more on that breaking news from Strasbourg when we have it. Now to American politics, where there was quite a scene at the White House today. Democratic leaders Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer went to the Oval Office to talk funding for President Trump's border wall with Mexico. Mr. Trump has threatened to shut down the government if he doesn't get the money. And here's what happened as the cameras were rolling.
Nancy, I do. And we need border security. Nancy, we need border security.
You have called 20 times to shut down the government. You say, I want to shut down the government. We don't. When the president brags that he won North Dakota and Indiana, he's in real trouble.
Please don't characterize the strength that I bring to this meeting.
Elections have consequences, Mr. President.
I am proud to shut down the government for border security, Chuck.
Well, now.
Well, you heard Chuck Schumer say there, elections have consequences. And if that scene is anything to go by, once Democrats control the House in January, it will be a bumpy ride. So Mr. Trump's hunt for a new chief of staff is...
So there you go.
Now, that was kind of lame.
Well, what they did is just a whole bunch of
context.
Yeah, they put a whole bunch of Pelosi and Schumer, clips, edited those all together, and then had him say, "Oh, I'm going to do the shutdown." So thanks, BBC. And of course, they should look in their own.
Here's the question. Well, here's the question I have for that meeting with Pelosi and Schumer there. I mean, these guys are a couple. I mean, they go on with the tinkling and the guy's not a man and all the rest of it. But why doesn't one of the two of them, it's so simple, say, why should we be funding the wall? You said Mexico is going to pay for it. Somebody should have just said that.
I
then
agree.
See what he did.
I agree.
But you said, what are we going to do? We're going to build a wall. Who's going to pay for it? Mexico. I've heard you say that. I've heard it in your meetings, meetups. I thought Mexico was going to pay for it. Why are we paying a nickel? Do they have no?
Because that's clearly not the issue. I mean, what he's talking about, what I've heard is $5 billion, which is a rounding error in the stupid crap we do. Look at the farm bill. Did you see the farm bill is just passed? $860 billion?
No.
$860 billion farm bill. Not
for
a peep.
What? Just for subsidies?
Yeah, subsidies, all kinds of it's interesting stuff. Now you can be part of an ongoing farm operation if you're a second cousin. There's all kinds of weird stuff in there. So you get compensated. There's the commodities compensation. It's huge. Not a peep anywhere. Not a peep. But I have a solution to this. Because the way I saw it, I saw two sides wanting border security, one wanting a wall, and one being okay with the fence. I mean, that's kind of where it's at, right? Now we're down to some would say semantics, but others would say it's a different structure. And the wall is very scary and, shows that we are afraid of brown people or whatever I've heard all week long. And the other one is kind of friendly. It's just a fence. So here's a simple solution. Build a fence. Electrify the fence.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
That's the way to go.
Electrify it.
Electrify
so
it.
That fence, you're dead.
Yeah, or, taser. Basically a taser fence. Not one of those.
Chops your hands off.
It's just an idea. I mean, it's not much worse than that razor wire that I see. I mean, that's pretty nasty. Except now you would have a different issue trying to get through it. Anyway, the whole thing is stupid. I don't think it's going to work. I don't think he'll get it done. I don't think there will be any funding of any wall before the end of the year.
Well, he has the possibility of letting the whole thing slide until next year and then just using a chunk of the military budget. He gave him an extra like $16 billion. I think that's his.
That's
plan.
his slush fund. Take it out of there. He said that whether they do it through you or through the military. Yeah. So the Army Corps of Engineers, I think, is the way to do that. Then.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, under the
build the wall.
Okay. Well, I don't. The whole thing is shit.
Yeah, it's a good exercise.
I like what happened in British Parliament though, as the Brexit deal and the arguments just make everyone nuts over there. One member of Parliament took it a bit far.
Sending in questions. BBCOS is the hashtag. Here's one coming in from a BBC News Channel viewer saying, what happened with the mace in Parliament? Well, I can help you out with that one. A Labour MP, Lloyd Russell Moyle, has been ordered out of the House of Commons for the rest of the day after he removed the mace. You can see him holding it there in protest at the government's decision to delay the vote. Now, the mace is a ceremonial club which represents royal authority. If it's removed, the Commons cannot debate or pass laws. After Mr. Russell Moyle took the mace, he walked towards the main doors in the Commons chamber. He was stopped by Commons officials who took the mace off him and returned it, as you can see, to its place in front of the Speaker's chair. But he was politely asked to vacate for the rest of the day. Well,
the mace, the sacred Illuminati stick, whatever that thing is. The actual audio was much funnier of the Speaker of Parliament. He's like, oh no, what's going on here?
It needs to be resumed what day?
Put it back.
No. Order.
Yeah, I'm grateful to thee.
I just think the whole thing is funny. We should have more of that here. That's why I liked what Trump and Pelosi and Schumer did.
I didn't know that mace had to be there, otherwise you can't do anything.
Oh yeah, it has power. So of course the church and state and everything and the Queen, it's all separate. But the way it works is the royal family, the Queen is represented by the mace, and so that is her seal of approval that you can discuss. You can't even discuss without the mace present.
That's what they said.
But when the Queen is in Parliament, then the mace is removed. So there can be no governing, so she can't interfere with anything. Something like that. It's interesting, these old traditions. It's just a damn stick. I thought it'd be a lot heavier too. Guy picked it up like it was just
It's made of balsa wood.
Maybe it's
made
of balsa wood. It's a replica. Oh man. All right, I got one more popular item, then we can drill into stuff. I'm actually a little surprised. Did you? I mean, you know that I'm a big sports fan, and obviously Steph Curry, my brother from another mother, went out on a limb and said he did not believe that we'd landed on the moon.
Yeah,
which makes 2 Currys out of thousands.
I think maybe all the Currys.
Pretty much all the Currys are now saying this. And then I think NASA said, "Oh, you don't believe that? Come over here. We'll show you our moon rocks." And but I got the biggest kick out of how far this was taken by my buddies over there at the PTI podcast, which I listen to all the time. You ever listen to PTI? The guys at PTI?
PTI.
Do you listen to PTI?
I like PTI. I've always liked it. It stands for Pardon the Interruption. Yes. Something you probably don't know.
Yes, I do. I can see it right here on the album art.
Okay.
I clipped this myself, I'll have you know. This is...
Have you ever... Okay. I'm not going to go into this. Just go ahead and play your little game, ridiculing the sports fans out there who are more serious about things than you are, I'm guessing.
Yesterday, we mentioned that Steph Curry did not believe that men had ever landed on the moon. I said I thought this had...
By the way, if this is the club you want to hang out with the rest of the sports fans, I don't need to belong.
...to be a lighthearted homage to Kyrie Irving saying the earth was flat. But it appears Curry actually believes this. He said so on the Winging It podcast, hosted by fellow NBAers Vince Carter and Kent Bazemore. Wilbon, is questioning the moon landing a bad look for Steph Curry?
It's a bad look for everybody, and it's not just Steph Curry. And I'm going to say this. Let me start by saying, if this is a joke, if they're just trolling people, because I believe Kyrie's doing that, I feel certain that he's doing that. And I think Steph's doing that. But let me just say the 3 people who have taken up this cause in the last 48 hours. Mark Spears of this network and this company, Steph Curry and Jalen Rose. These 3 people are my friends. I know them well. I'm with them. Their discussions all the time. I know their intellects. Don't do this. Don't come out and say, we saw these pictures are kind of grainy, they're black and white. Happened before I was born. Because does that mean you don't believe in slavery? Does that mean you don't believe in the Revolutionary War? Did it not happen because it didn't happen on your watch? Don't do this. So you guys are too smart. You're supposed to be
Are you
woke.
saying Jalen Rose?
Jalen, I listened to Jalen today. These are my guys.
Rose?
If you are as woke as you say, if you are as technologically savvy as you appear to be, don't do this.
This is a
Because you're saying, I don't believe in history. The hell with history, because it didn't happen while I was looking at my cell phone watch.
It's a very small step to becoming a Holocaust denier or a slavery denier.
Don't do it.
And so I'm going to look in the camera and say this, and I'm going to say this both to Steph Curry.
It goes on and on. Racist, don't believe in slavery, Holocaust denier. This is fantastic. What's wrong with these sports people?
That's pretty standard sports talk.
Here's the ISO I pulled.
Don't do this.
Thought that was kind of nice, too.
It's negative, though.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mine's positive.
Oh, okay. Right. We'll end the show on a high note.
Yeah, as we always do.
You got it. All right. I think let's see. You want to start somewhere specifically?
Well, let's go to climate change if you want to.
Okay, we'll take it right into the young kids with the Green New Deal. Hit me. What you got?
Well, let's start off. First of all, there's the rage in the climate circles.
Ooh.
Is the climate girl, little 15-year-old who got involved with climate change when she was 9 because she's so knowledgeable about it. And so they, of course, all these Amy Goodman, everybody's picked up on this girl.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with this. Is this a meme that I've missed?
This is, well, if you were if you knew anything about climate change and you were a big believer,
I would know all about her.
Climate change, the climate change girl.
All
so
right.
let's go with the intro, the Greta, the climate change girl.
With a climate activist who says politicians here are not doing enough to turn back the clock and prevent catastrophic climate change. 15-year-old Greta Thunberg. She has made international headlines since launching a school strike against climate change in her home country of Sweden in September. She sat on the steps of the parliament in Stockholm every school day for 3 weeks leading up to the Swedish elections to demand that politicians take more radical action to stop global warming. After the election, she went back to school 4 days a week, but every Friday, Greta continues to sit outside the parliament building in protest. Her actions have inspired thousands of students across the globe to do the same. Greta Thunberg has Asperger's syndrome. She has focused with laser intensity on climate change since she was 9 years old. She brought her message directly to world leaders here in Katowice at the UN Climate Summit last week. This is Greta addressing UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres.
See, I think this is a mistake, though. I think they're making a mistake with her. They need to get the people who are just about of voting age. They're the ones that are most effective. This is tugging on heartstrings that I don't think does it anymore.
I'm not going to argue this. I think this whole thing is a joke, but I'm only going to play a piece of her little speech. But she goes on and on and on and on and on. Of course, the thing about somebody that's 15 and is erudite, which she seems to be, is that you have to let her talk. So they let her talk for, I don't know, days. You can hear
it does seem to be a problem. Yes, I agree. I have similar issues.
Here you go.
Instead, I will ask the people around the world to realize that our political leaders have failed us because we are facing an existential threat.
Hold on a second. She's 15?
Yeah.
No. She's a midget. She's a little person. This is impossible. This is not a 15-year-old.
And there is no time to continue down this road of madness. Rich countries like Sweden need to start reducing emissions by at least 15% every year to stay below a 2-degree warming target. You would think the media and every one of our leaders would be talking about nothing else, but they never even mention it. Nor does hardly anyone ever mention that we are in the midst of the 6th mass extinction, with up to 200 species going extinct every single day.
Jeez. Child abuse.
Child abuse. That's involved, but she's got every single meme,
every metric, every little thing she's got in there. Of course.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Then I will play you now. You're so right about these kids that they go on and on and on and on. And I've been tracking the Sunrise Movement. This is the group that protested again at Nancy Pelosi's office.
Yeah.
On the Hill.
There were photos from that protest in the last newsletter.
That was actually the next day. That was a protest in California. They were in Washington, D.C. the day before. And they lined the halls and they were getting arrested. And then they did the same thing with their office in San Francisco.
Yeah. Why is she the target? She's like on their side.
No, she's not. You see, the thing is, she created the first select committee for the Green New Deal in 2007 in anticipation of Van Jones and Barack Obama, who then couldn't get it off the ground, mainly because Van Jones got kicked out as a 9/11 truther, which he won't admit to anymore. And so that kind of fell by the wayside, but it also did not have any power to draft legislation. That's why they're saying this is different. And of course, I'm seeing the signs. I'm seeing professional signs.
Oh yeah,
this can't
They're
come.
Nice.
This can't come. They're very nice.
Yellow. They get the right idea.
And their logo is very good.
Yeah,
that upside down kind of. Yeah, I don't know. It feels like mind control when you look at it, like I'm going into the logo now. So I looked into who this Sunrise Movement is, and they are they do have a 990. They are a nonprofit with very little money. I'm talking, like $70,000. But this just filed. This is brand new. As I did some digging, particularly their address, 50 F Street Northwest, Suite 700 in Washington, D.C., you wouldn't be surprised to find out that there's a number of climate-based organizations at that address. And the one in particular of interest is the U.S. Climate Action Network, And the way I read it, although the paperwork is maybe not officially filed properly, the Climate Action Network, now they have a lot of money. They do about $12 million a year, and it's been increasing with several million each year over the past 5. It appears that the Sunrise Movement Education Fund has taken over the U.S. Climate Action Network, whose initial funding came from, you guessed it,
George Soros.
The Open Society Institute. Yes, of course. Yeah. So of course, that's where the money comes from. 2 co-founders. We heard from Varshini Prakash on the last time we played some clips when she was on the Young Turks. The kid who interests me the most, very reminiscent of David Hogg from the Parkland shooting, the school, is another co-founder of the Sunrise Movement, and that's Jeremy Ornstein. And I think he's just about 18 or 19. He was in the halls when they were protesting Pelosi. I can't play the whole clip because it's 6 minutes and the audio isn't all that great. But he goes into a story that he tells off the cuff, just ad hoc, rolls it out, fantastically done. The kid is a real pro. The only problem is his story is bullshit, and you can tell it right from the beginning, so I'll play that part. Oh, by the way, of course, they had to release this on YouTube with all kinds of inspirational music.
I'm going to start telling a story about my grandparents. They were born in Hungary, and when the Nazis rose to power, they lost almost everyone, friends and family, killed in the Holocaust. But they survived the war and moved to Cincinnati, Ohio to start a new life. I remember one day I was maybe 8 and my brother was 10, and we were in my grandparents' apartment, and I remember my brother Nicholas secretly taking a copy of my grandmother's Holocaust memoirs and going into the bathroom to read it. And I remember my parents finding him and bringing him out and gently scolding him and saying to both of us, "You're too young to read this. You're gonna have to wait a few years." And I remember thinking, my brother shouldn't have broken those rules, and also remember asking myself, when will I be old enough to read those stories? And it was just a few years later when my parents let me follow my brother into the Temple Auditorium where there was a presentation on the Holocaust. I remember how mature I felt. You know, my head was up, my shoulders were back, and I was full of resolve. Because you have to be full of resolve when you're grappling with something so serious, when you're dealing with the past that's so painful.
I mean, I could just go on and on with this kid. I mean, he wraps it up. He does. I mean, I'll just go to a piece a little further because he gets snaps and everything from the kids in the hallway. No applause, just snaps. Of course.
Serious we were about fixing these problems because we have endured bullets and storms and fires because we've had to grow up one too many times. Speaker Pelosi, Democratic leadership, we are asking you to grow up. When will you confront?
Woo! Actual applause. So I'm not so sure that his mom from, where was she from?
Hungary.
I'm not so sure she wrote her notes in English that his brother could find when he was 8 years old. Maybe she wrote it in English.
Doubtful. No, that story sounds like a crock. Which
it could be. It could be that her mother wrote a book. That's also possible.
I thought it was grandmother.
Grandmother. Yeah, grandmother. Yeah, it could be that she wrote a book. I don't know. But this kid is good. Ornstein is his name. Oh, look at this. Anna Ornstein. Professor Emerita of Child Psychology. Oh, okay. And she writes about the Holocaust. Maybe that's her.
Yeah, maybe it's the book they're talking about.
Yeah, well, maybe she psychologized her grandson. But, man, this kid, watch out for this kid. If they get a hold of him, he'll be everywhere.
He's a bit unhinged in style. I'm not.
Oh, I said just like David Hogg. He'll go, and he'll burn out.
When's the last time you heard his name?
That's what I'm saying. He'll burn out. I'm just pointing it out. Trudeau in the big.
Wait a minute, let's back off here.
I'm still in the Green New Deal.
Okay, but before you leave this kid, I don't understand how they're associating the Holocaust with climate change. Don't you think that's something of a bit or
No,
a bit
no,
much?
no, John, no. Because if you listen to the whole thing, and I played a little bit of it there, these kids are growing up believing that the world is on fire, it's on flood, it's on earthquake, it's on everything. They're all going to die. Their schools are being shot up. Also climate change. They're traumatized. They're traumatized. Yes. He equates this to the Holocaust, where kids were also being killed.
Who has traumatized these kids? Not us.
No. Oh, I know. But this is what you get when the child abuse is complete. These kids are very serious. I don't know if they'll be taken seriously by the Democrats, who they seem to be wanting to partner with. But yeah, this they really believe it. It's sad. I find this incredibly sad. Now Trudeau. He was interviewed CBC, and he was interviewed about the carbon tax, which is just like in France, although the riots haven't started yet, is quite an issue with the provinces. They want to have none of it.
You've got 4 provinces who have not complied with the carbon tax. Now you're imposing it on them. Is it harder to sell the carbon tax when you have premiers saying that it is the wrong thing to do?
I think the fact that there are a bunch of conservatives out there who have decided that pollution should be free is not that difficult to counter. We're putting
You gotta love the pollution meme, don't you? It's now just pollution.
A price on pollution because we want less
price
pollution.
on pollution.
And the fact that conservatives in this country don't want to move forward on either fighting climate change or helping people ensure that we can get the good jobs in the future is a conversation I'm willing to have anytime. What we're doing with the Climate Action Incentive is making sure that a family that will have extra costs because of putting a price on pollution will be more than equivalently compensated for it.
And what is your hope in terms of how those people change their behavior? And do you have a sense of how quickly that would happen?
Well, I think we know that when you put a price on something you don't want, like pollution, well, we're putting a price on pollution, right?
Could he say price on pollution one more time just so we know it's pollution?
We're making sure. Well, actually, the money is going straight back to the jurisdiction. This isn't going into federal coffers. This isn't something we're going to spend on something else. We're actually giving that money back to citizens in the province in which it was raised, because we know that if you make pollution free, people are going to give out more of it. We say no. If you want to pollute, there should be a cost associated.
I'm just blown away by the fact that this interviewer lets him get away with the word pollution. It's CO2, it's carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, which has now just been boiled down to pollution. Do you want?
So if we got rid of all carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, that would be a plus because we'd have no more pollution.
Yeah, and no more trees, and eventually no more people.
Trees. We'd all die. There'd be no more oxygen because you need the trees to be fed.
But
they're trying to kill us.
But this is why people, and certainly young people, are very nervous and don't feel so good about the climate change. Now, of course, she does ask the question about France compared to what's happening there, compared to Scandinavia. What could go wrong? Could anything go wrong? What do you think about your buddy Macron?
We saw I think he's a political ally of yours, Emmanuel Macron, face this very question over the past couple of weeks. He put a surtax on fuel, riots in the street, and he had to back down. What lesson did you learn from watching that?
Well, he didn't ensure that the second part of it, you put a price on pollution because we want less pollution, but you also make sure that ordinary Canadians are going to be able to be to afford this transition towards a lower carbon economy.
So it's the rebate that makes the difference.
The rebate, the support for families, and making sure that we are supporting families through this transition time is a fundamental responsibility for every government.
And yet, the United Nations says that most of the large emitting countries, including Canada, are not on track to meet Paris targets. They are calling for more urgency. So how do you respond in the face of that? Do you speed up what you're doing? Do you change what you're doing?
Actually, a lot of countries around the world are looking with a lot of interest at how Canada is moving forward on putting a price on pollution and supporting ordinary citizens through this transition. It is a model that is going to set us on a path to reach our Paris targets. We are going to be able to...
The UN says no. The UN says it's not going to happen.
We are going to be able to reach those commitments.
How?
by having a price on pollution. People will look for ways to innovate to pollute less that will effectively reduce our climate change emissions and improve outcomes.
So you will reach the Paris?
We're going to reach our Paris targets. Yes.
What could possibly go wrong?
Wow. We need more donations from the Canadians.
Yes. Let me see. So just following up on that, Yellow Jackets, before the shooting in Strasbourg, which is still a part of France, there were all kinds of reports about the police using incapacitating liquid on the protesters as a secret weapon, they say.
Where was this?
Well, this is published in Marianne, in the French publication. Yellow Vest, Saturday in Paris, police had a secret weapon. And they only used it as last resort, a supply of incapacitating liquid.
Like put in one of those water cannons?
I don't know.
How would you do it? How would you get it? I mean, this like mace is an incapacitating liquid.
So maybe that's what they're talking about, but here, following the publication of our article, the National Gendarmerie wished to specify the device of which we report existence to as a liquid. Oh, it's a powder. It's a powder. We got to find out one of our.
Well, it's probably one of those like a tear gas.
Probably, yeah, tear gas like product. Not fun. Most likely.
Well, my last global warming thing is the Arctic Warming Report, which is on Democracy Now!
Scientists have issued a new warning on Arctic warming. A report released this week finds the Arctic has been warmer over the last 5 years than at any time since 1900, the year record keeping began. The region is warming at twice the rate of the rest of the planet.
So you'd think that if you're going to be making all these prognostications about the next few hundred years, that you would go back further than 1900.
You'd think there might be something there that she wasn't mentioning. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Thinking that.
You think, huh?
Yeah. At one point, Greenland was green.
Green, yeah. That's why it's called Greenland. But,
that's not the way they play it in school.
No.
They've had... but the problem is, of course, underneath all that snow, there's evidence that it was like a wooded, area.
Very problematic.
The way they played it in school when I was a kid was Leif Erikson's escaping, as the last of the Vikings trying to get out of Norway or that whole Nordic area, because the hammer was brought down on these guys because they were bad actors, and they were chasing them down. So they went to They told everybody they're the ones who named it Greenland, and then Iceland was named because it was actually kind of green. And it was to be the sucker.
Really? Is that the way it's taught?
That's the kind of bull crap that I was taught. It was to sucker the dummies from the Nordic countries that chasing Leif Erikson, because he's obviously not going to go to Iceland because it's ice.
It was a distraction.
Go to Greenland.
It was a misdirection.
Green, misdirection.
Early example of misdirection. That's great.
And so
those Vikings, man.
So I'm thinking, well, maybe.
I didn't know that. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's very funny. For some reason, that stuck with me along with the one, and it was when you're a little kid. Any little kid will do this when they first look at the globe.
Mm-hmm.
They will look at South America and Africa, and you look at it and you go, "Hey, those two pieces fit together."
Yes. Oh, you can't say that.
Before the International Geophysical Year, where they determined there's a thing called plate tectonics, which were moving these areas apart, it was always, no, it's just a coincidence. Don't even say something like that. It was a coincidence that they looked like they were hooked together. So this is all bull crap we're fed. So we're supposed to now believe the global warming aspect.
That reminds me, when I entered the Dutch schooling system, I was going to the International School of Amsterdam for 3 years after we moved there. I moved there when I was 7. And just to give you the full context of the story, we had a week off from the ISA, International School of Amsterdam, And my parents sat me and my sisters down Sunday evening. Guess what you guys are going to do tomorrow? We're like, wow, what are we going to do? You're going to Dutch school. Like, what? And I actually really spoke just a few words of Dutch. So entered Dutch school, 5th grade, and within, I think, like 2 or 3 months into the school year, the teacher, he says, "Oh, here's a question that our American students." Now, this is a time when Americans were not very loved in Europe. Texas Instruments was coming over, and I walk on the street, they know who I was, and the kids would be like, "You crazy American shit, go fuck yourself." I mean, that's what I would get as a 5th grader. And then the teacher says, "All right, here's one. How many states does the United States of America have?" And my hand goes up. Of course, I said 50 states. He said, "No, it's 52. You forgot Alaska and Hawaii." I said, "No, it was 48." And then what? No. You don't even know this? And he just was berating me. And so I was already messed up. And then I remember calling the American embassy and recording it on, one of those little cassette recorders, taking it into school. And even that was, she was referencing an old Encyclopedia Britannica. I could not get them to just admit that he was wrong.
Yeah, there's elements of this in the educational system, and it's really pathetic.
Oh. I watched the entire Sundar Pichai testimony.
You watched the whole thing? Because I only picked up a few. I have one clip. I watched some of it. I have what I thought was a good clip, but you probably have
it. Let's play. I got a couple clips, very short ones.
I just thought this was good because it played right into the $100,000, apparently not even that much, $50,000 that was spent by the Russians on Facebook to swing the election. Here's the amount that apparently Google picked up. This is Nadler, who's the number one Trump hater, who's already discussed putting Trump in jail. Although if anybody read my essay in the last newsletter, Kiss of Death essay,
we'll know that no one actually wants to put him in jail. That would ruin the whole idea of
the
threatening.
Scheme of things.
Yeah.
But listen to Nadler grilling this guy. And by the way, a lot of people are condemning Nadler as being in the pocket of Google because he gets so much money from Alphabet.
Now, according to media reports, Google found evidence that Russian agents spent thousands of dollars to purchase ads on its advertising platforms that span multiple Google products as part of the Russian agents' campaign to interfere in the election 2 years ago. Additionally, Juniper Downs, head of global policy for YouTube, testified in July that YouTube had identified and shut down multiple channels containing thousands of videos associated with the Russian misinformation campaign. Does Google now know the full extent to which its online platforms were exploited by Russian actors in the election 2 years ago?
We have, we undertook a very thorough investigation, and in 2016, we now know that there were 2 main ad accounts linked to Russia, which advertised on Google for about $4,700 in advertising. We also found other limited
total of $4,700.
That's right. Which was no amount is okay here, but we found limited activity, improper activity. We have learned a lot from that, and we've dramatically increased the protections we have around our election offerings. Leading up to the current elections, we again found limited activity, both from the Internet Research Agency in Russia, as well as accounts linked to Iran.
And what specific steps have you taken, including during the recent 2018 elections, to protect against further interference by Russia or other hostile foreign powers?
We have undertaken a significant review of how ads are bought. We look for the origin of these accounts. We share and collaborate with law enforcement, other technology companies, and we essentially are investing a lot of effort and oversight in this area.
And looking ahead to the next Congress, I assume we can have your assurances that Google will work with this committee as we examine the issue of how to better secure our elections from future foreign interference?
Congressman, protecting our elections is foundational to our democracy, and you have my full commitment that we'll do that.
Yeah, blah, blah. Let me tell you.
$4,700.
Please.
Big deal.
But I watched this whole thing, and it is so embarrassing. Even the people who had a bit of a clue really display their ignorance and just how idiotically stupid they are, if not because they really don't understand how the series of tubes works, because they don't have the wherewithal to ask someone to make sure they don't look like blithering morons, which they do. You can't take it seriously. I mean, there's stuff in there like, well, if I'm here and I move over there, does Google know? You know, like, well, unless you leave it so wide open for Pachar to go, well, I don't know. It depends on your phone, depends on what apps you have installed. I mean, there was just nothing really substantial. Well, there's one small thing that came out that may be important, but it started off with pontificating. Is Lofgren, well, let's talk about search and how search works.
I think it's important to talk about how search works. Right now, if you Google the word idiot under images, a picture of Donald Trump comes up.
Biased!
I just did that.
Biased, I tell you.
How would that happen? How does search work so that would occur?
We provide search today for any time you type in a keyword. We, as Google, we have gone out and crawled and stored copies of billions of web pages.
He says stored, but it almost sounds like stoled. And I just want to believe that's what he's thinking in his mind. I stole all that.
In our index. And we take the keyword and match it against web pages and rank them based on over 200 signals. Things like relevance, freshness, popularity, how other people are using it. And based on that, at any given time, we try to rank and find the best results for that query. And then we evaluate them with external raters to make sure that, and they evaluate it to objective guidelines. And that's how we make sure the process is working.
So it's not some little man sitting behind the curtain figuring out what we're going to show the user. It's basically a compilation of what users are generating and trying to sort through that information.
I think she's on the payroll, too. Yeah. Don't worry, it's not some little man who's putting, he conveniently omits the idea that the search results are also tailored to you as an individual, and moreover, your location. Someone was talking about that, and I did the experiment yesterday. We do a search query, and then you actually do it with two different browsers just to make it kind of fair. And then flip on the VPN, do the exact same search query from California, and you get very different results. Try gun control as an example. It's very different.
My favorite thing is whatever VPN area you're coming from.
It changes the language.
Apparently a woman in Vancouver who wants to meet me, and she's also in Berkeley.
No way! The same woman. Is she hot?
Yeah.
I can't believe this. What are the chances? Onward. Number 2. This, I think, is something where Google can get caught up. And this is good latte. What's his name? Good lat? You spell it good latte. He's a good latte. So good latte, who I think is the chairman, he has asked a question about the advertising rates for politicians. And what you have to know is that I think it's law. Correct me if I'm wrong. When you buy television media for a political campaign, the seller, I believe, is obligated to give you the cheapest rate and the same cheap rate that everybody else gets. Are you familiar with this?
I'm not familiar with it being law, but it would make sense.
Could two competing political candidates targeting the same audience see different ad rates? And if yes, could that disparity be substantial?
There wouldn't be a difference based on any political reasons unless there are keywords which are of particular interest and the market determines it. So it's essentially a supply-demand equilibrium. It can lead to difference in rates, but it will vary from time to time.
Can those rates be very substantial in difference?
There could be occasions where, yes, there could be difference in rates. Yeah, I haven't looked at the specifics of it, yes. But it's decided by the system, and it's a process we have done for over 20 years. And let me assure you, anything to do with our civic process, we make sure we do so in a nonpartisan way, and it's really important for us.
Yeah, I think he's going to run into some headwinds there because they're all going to say, well, wait a minute, how do you determine the price for this campaign or my campaign? And these people are so clueless in Congress. Because, of course, it's very difficult to get that ad rate the same as television because it's apples and oranges. But I think they're going to make an issue about that. Now, China, the question about China was, of course, asked by our own Sheila Jackson Lee. And as you know, she's representative for Houston, has a great relationship with China, is always talking up China, and with the port, and we love China, goes to China, goes on special little trips to
junkets.
Make sure our bond of friendship and cooperation with China is strong.
Food,
she loves China. So she's the one to ask about China.
I am concerned that you are now going back into China and upholding the dragonfly procedures which would help censor Chinese persons seeking a lifeline of democracy and freedom.
Congressman, at the outset, right now we have no plans to...
I liked how he said congressman to everybody, including the congresswomen. I don't know if that was on purpose, but he kept doing it.
Democracy and freedom.
Congressman, at the outset, right now we have no plans to launch in China. We don't have a search product there. Our core mission is to provide users access to information, and getting access to information is an important human right. So we are always compelled across the world to try hard to provide that information. I'm committed to being fully transparent, including with policymakers, to the extent we ever develop plans to do that.
No, sounds like she asked the right question. He gave the right answer. Nothing going on in China.
Information is a human right?
Yes, of course it's a human right, John. Which is how
I'd like to get some information right now.
What would you like? I can give it to you.
No, I'm going to start working. I'm going to make a list.
Oh, okay. It's your human right to do so. They did have one gotcha.
No. My human right is not to want access to information. My human right, according to him, is the access.
Oh.
Huge difference.
I think they got him on this. This was the only real bias question, which is what this was really about. This was all about bias. No one understood an algorithm. And 3.5 hours of just pure drivel.
Yeah, it was bad.
This Jim Jordan, he had the, I guess, kind of smoking gun to show that Google, through their own wording, which Bashar just denied, had specifically done some work to help out a political party during the midterm elections. Here's the clip.
Mr. Pichai, in your opening statement, you said, I lead this company without political bias and work to ensure that our products operate that way. Ileana Murillo is Google's head of multicultural marketing. Does Ms. Murillo do good work?
I'm not directly familiar with her work, but she's an employee of Google, and we are proud of her employees.
Well, you praised her work. The day after the 2016 election, in a 4-page email she wrote about her work with the Latino vote, she said, even Sundar gave our effort a shout-out. Is she referring to you there?
She was referring to my communication around translation for a different related effort.
Okay, well, I'm going to look at 2 other sentences she had in that long email, again, recapping her work in the 2016 election with the Latino vote. She said this: we pushed to get out the Latino vote with our features. A few lines down in her email, she qualified that sentence, and she said, we pushed to get out the Latino vote with our features in key states. And she specifically cites the states Florida and Nevada. Near the end of her email, in a similar sentence, she says, we supported partners like Voto Latino to pay for rides to the polls in key states. With me? I want to kind of analyze those 2 sentences. We pushed to get out the Latino vote with our features in key states. We supported partners like Voto Latino to pay for rides to the polls in key states. Is it fair to say the we in both sentences, Mr. Pichai, refers to Google?
Congressman, we are very concerned whenever there are allegations like that. Our team looked into it.
I'm not asking that question. I'm asking, is it fair to say the we in both sentences refers to the company Google?
As Google, we wouldn't participate in any partisan efforts around any civic process. So, I don't think so.
So we pushed And we supported partners like Voto Latino to pay for rides in polls in key states, and we pushed to get out the Latino vote during the 2016 election. And how were they getting that done? They were getting that done by, according to Ms. Morello, your head of multicultural marketing, by altering your features or configuring your features in such a way and for paying for rides for people to get to the polls.
Not that any of that is illegal, mind you. But it was odd that Pichar just kept denying. It went on for minutes. No, I'm not. No, we would never do anything biased like that. We would, but I have the email saying you did it. And it's like, just admit it. What difference does it make? It's not illegal.
No, it's not. But it is biased, which is what they're trying to avoid.
Which is what, yeah, and it just went nowhere. It really went nowhere. I have just one last clip that kind of moves into an interesting story. This is about the content flagging.
We discussed this. I raised the case of the Alliance Defending Freedom's content being removed after being reported by a trusted flagger on YouTube. The flagging organization was the Southern Poverty Law Center, which has kind of an infamous reputation for being, I would say, a radical left organization that opposes conservative viewpoints. What criteria does Google use when granting trusted flagger status to third parties such as the SPLC?
Today we I first want to clarify one thing. Our trusted flaggers don't remove content. They can flag content for us to review, and we review flag content. It's mostly used by law enforcement, many nonprofit agencies in areas, important areas like child safety, terrorism, and so on. Southern Poverty Law Center is a trusted flagger. People can register. Last we checked, they've never flagged a single video on our platform. We have reached out to a wide variety of organizations, including conservative organizations. We would be happy to take your suggestions to add, organizations as trusted flaggers.
I appreciate that. We need a little objectivity in the reviewers, and I'll yield back.
Oh, jeez.
That went nowhere.
Yeah, but he actually is like believing that where, and this is the story I wanted to get to, big article in The Guardian about Snopes. Snopes is very disappointed and angry. Journalists working as fact-checkers for Facebook, in this case, have pushed to end a controversial media partnership with a social network, saying the company has ignored their concerns and failed to use their expertise to combat misinformation. And this is Brooke Binkowski, former managing editor of Snopes, a fact-checking site that has partnered with Facebook for 2 years. She says they're not taking anything seriously. They're more interested in making themselves look good and passing the buck, but they clearly don't care.
You're talking about Facebook.
Facebook in this case. But it's the same fact-check network, the International Fact-Check Network, that includes, that works for Google and includes Snopes, and on the other side, the Daily Caller Foundation. And here's, in black and white, they don't care. They really don't give a crap about what you're doing with your...
Of course they don't.
Yeah. And all those people should be living here where it's nice and cheap for them. But yeah.
Well, I think Facebook should just move to Austin.
No. We keep it right where it is. But with that, I would like to thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, John C. Dvorak, the man who put the C in SPLC. Dvorak.
In the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry. Also in the morning to all ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there.
And in the morning to the troll room. Hello, trolls. Got your polls? NoAgendaStream.com is where they always show up. You can join them every Sunday and Thursday morning when we do the show live, and we are always happy.
I'm in a cave.
Always happy to have them here and covering our ass or fact-checking it, so it may need to be. And in the morning to Cesium 137 brought us the artwork for episode 1093. The title of that was Right Puberty. And this was a very nice image. This was the last puzzle piece that fits into the huge puzzle with no agenda stamped across it. It was, I don't know, it was something about it. It really, really felt good.
It jumped out at you. But this was a controversial pick because this was not our original pick.
Okay.
Mike Riley had the piece that we wanted to use.
Yeah, I'm going in to look now.
Which was the piece with OAC or AOC, whatever her name is.
Oh, with the moonshot, yes.
It's the moon, because you talk about the moonshot, and it's a takeoff from that guy's name.
The Hugo movie guy.
Yeah, the famous French movie maker. And so we picked that piece to begin with, and then before we posted,
we'd picked it. I'd put his name in the credits and everything.
Yeah, I said, wait a minute, we can't use this piece.
We're such pussies.
Yeah, well, no, we can't use the piece, and the reason was, it's because what happens if somebody shoots this woman?
She had the bullet with the.
There's the rocket ship.
The rocket was in her eye.
Bullet,
it was in her eye. It did look like a bullet.
It looks like a bullet.
Yeah.
And so then all of a sudden we're the bad guys. And so we pulled the piece and went with the other piece, which we liked a lot too. Adam actually liked the jigsaw puzzle piece more, and I'm the one who thought the other piece was better. And he finally came to my side on this, and we picked it. And then I also
and the reason why is the puzzle piece. You argued correctly can be used for anything, anytime. It's a perfect evergreen. AOC, we might be able to use it, but there was something about the moon, and it made sense for the episode.
Yes, but but once we determined that it was not acceptable because of the bullet, that was the end of it. It won't be an evergreen either, but you can go there, go to the website and check it out.
That's noagendaartgenerator.com, and we thank Cesium-137 and all of our artists who are always diligently uploading sometimes just hilarious stuff. And it's on view for everyone. It's on display, noagendaartgenerator.com, and you can also upload your art. And that's how a lot of people participate in our value network. And thank you, Cesium-137.
Yes.
Now, you had a newsletter fail, as you said.
This year was a disaster for some of these newsletters. This one, I got a lot of notes from people saying that, I never got the thing. I think I read a couple of these. From Alexander, it says, for your information, never made my mailbox, and that's a first. Most of all the previous problematic newsletters did arrive. So he didn't get it. A number of people didn't get it. He says, "Hi, John, I haven't received my newsletter earlier today. I've only received this mail from that." In other words, the text message I sent.
Right.
In the last few weeks, I know you've been commenting on the newsletters not getting through. I have received all of those, but have not received this one. Now, some people finally dug around and they found it in the promotions box.
And it was nice. It was an essay, which you and I always laugh about. So whenever you write down and sit down and write an essay, it usually results in much lower donations.
Yes, the donations go way down.
And are you now considering still doing them? Because you kind of said in your follow-up that it appears
I'm not going to do them anymore. What's the point if we get, everybody hates them?
Well, here's what I wanted to jump in on. You said it appears the audience, that would be our producers who receive the newsletter, actually just want animated GIFs.
They love the animated GIFs.
Do you think that this is the way we should go? I mean, is there animated? I mean, I know the answer to this because we always take the low road when we can.
The low road always works.
The low road always works. It's just so sad when people say, "Give us a newsletter with some content," and you do it, and it just Anyway.
Yes, this is what the problem is.
It's because people really just want animated GIFs. That's the bottom line, and we're being honest with you. This is what you respond to.
But this apparently was some delivery issues. I don't know why. It doesn't make any sense. But I've been thinking there's been some changes in the algos that send stuff to the promotions box. Yeah. Somebody suggested that if you don't open the newsletter he says he noticed this.
Oh, then Google makes a decision for you.
Yeah, he says that he used to always open the newsletter, open. Then for some reason, or he'd skip 3 of them.
Right.
And he says, and ever since after that, it's been showing up in promotions no matter what he does. Which is the thing that bothers me the most, is the comment that everybody makes is, no matter what I do,
it shows up in promotions.
I whitelist it, I bitch about it being in the wrong box and all the rest of it. And of course, I do what I do, just discard the promotions box and just eliminate its existence.
I think somehow within, just to be semi-technical, I believe somewhere in Google's system, when you say, okay, I want to whitelist this, it's probably, I mean, these things do come out from weird reply tos, and MailChimp does certain things that may not be the same every time in the headers.
I think MailChimp is partly to blame for some of this. I don't know that they're doing enough. I mean, I bitched about this a few weeks ago, similar situation. And I got a note from MailChimp, and they said this bull crap, and they're not taking
Pretty soon, hey, shut up, Dvorak, or you want to be deplatformed?
Yeah, I'm not worried about that, but it's just that I wonder how much of the system itself, because other people have looked into it. And MailChimp comes in with some very weird headers, and all the. This is a problem. I don't know how Google can rationalize this, but every link in a newsletter like this actually goes through MailChimp.
Oh,
so when I link to the PayPal account, it's actually going through MailChimp as a pass-through. You know how that works. And so it goes to MailChimp and then gets forwarded to the PayPal, so MailChimp can do a count. A lot of people. I'm going to write a little giblet about some of this stuff.
I don't think it's MailChimp. I mean, this is ultimately it's Google. I mean, I get all the newsletters all the time. Of course, I run my own email server.
You don't use Google.
Yeah. So it's clearly Google making decisions for you.
There should be, if it's a newsletter that somebody subscribed to, which is the case with this mailing list, they should all go through. They shouldn't end up in promotions or in spam or anything else. If Google was doing its job, I think they do a very piss poor job with their email.
No, they're doing exactly what they want to do. If you don't want to be, this promotions tab is also very interesting. You get into the promotions tab, you can also pay to be at the top of the promotions tab. It's an advertiser spot now. In Gmail. Oh, yeah. Why people continue to be on Gmail is beyond me. Anyway, let's thank some people who kindly came in and supported.
We sent a note out saying, hey, we had a fail. And so everybody, a lot of people that normally wait for that, they seem to wait for the second note.
Hey, man, where's my GIFs? Oh, shit.
And then where's my GIFs? And so then they contribute, which I find to be, it's fine. I like it because at least it shows that our people are still following the show and they like the show, and so they will contribute. So we have a large list of executive producers today, up from one.
Well, so it worked. Your evil plan worked, Dvorak. Good work.
Well, it actually is up from probably two, because we have one that came in through the mail, which was, of course, Sir Onimus of Dogpatch and Lower Slavonia.
Yes, he's back. How is he doing?
Well, he gave us $1,077, so he's doing well.
Holy moly!
But
Goat
this
screen.
Note is very short, 2 paragraphs.
Oh, that's
and
not
I don't
typical.
Like it.
Uh-oh.
Because here it goes. Keeping up with this world is difficult, so even when I'm a day or two behind, you two keep me in front and often are from the future. Thank you. I hope to have some insight when I finally stop traveling, but as of now, my observation is rose-colored glasses are about to get a punch in the nose. I smell real shit around the corner. And not just in John and Adam's poop capitals.
Hey. We don't have the poop. Well, actually, we're starting here, but yes.
Happy Hanukkah to all. NJNK.
Wow. So I'm thinking he's probably thinking there's crap going down the Middle East.
Or somewhere.
But
something's up.
He did say he would tell us. The
shortest letter he's ever sent without a bunch of why you should be donating to the show. There's none of that in here. It's just that he just thinks that something bad's going to happen. Mm-hmm. Whether it could be economic, it could be Middle East. He travels a lot, and he goes to the Middle East a lot.
Yeah.
And
well, this is very concerning. Now, is there something about the number, the 1077? Is there something we should be reading into that?
I would think maybe.
There's got to be some code that we're not seeing.
It's not our show number, so it's not 1094.
Damn. This guy is such a puzzle. I think he's
a total,
one of the only producers we really, really know, executive producers we really know nothing about.
No, but we have a lot of indicators and hints.
Yeah. Well,
and he does travel a lot. Why he's traveling so much, we don't know that. But he's seems to be on top of a lot of things.
Well, NJNK, no jingles, no karma. We'll respect his wishes, but thank you very much, Sir Onimus of Dogpatch and Lower Slobovia. We look forward to your next communication.
And this is also, there's other issues. I'll leave that out. Anyway, onward to Craig Mazzella, $334.34. I apologize for the long note.
Which then got truncated?
Cut off.
Oh, gosh. Oh, this is horrible. Let me see if I have a copy of it somewhere. Oh, that's horrible. Well, start your read.
So funny. It must have been so long. I don't know why they concatenated it or cut it off right there, but they did.
You going to read it?
Oh, yeah. Hold on. I thought you were looking for the note.
I am, but no luck so far.
Oh, okay. Let me hold on one second. I just was right in the middle of enlarging the page with the Zoom feature.
It's called embiggening.
Embiggened. I apologize for the long note, but it's important. If you don't want to read it, then I will simply ask for the most powerful jobs karma you have for me and some easy pregnancy karma for my wife, Dame Janie. We are and then it ends.
This is horrible. You should have sent it through email. I have nothing on email from him, but it sounds like they are expecting a new human resource. So we'll hand out jobs karma. You want a big one, big heaping. And with your new human resource karma. And please let us know what the rest of your note says.
Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Pregnancy karma, to be specific. Oh, yes. You know what? I remember this note, I think.
Yeah.
Was this, and his wife is continuously ill? I don't know if it's the same note. I know. I get a lot of notes. I get a lot
of. We both get a lot of notes.
I know a lot of people's lives, and I'm not sure if this was the same one. So
is it ZZELA?
Yeah, I can't find it. I have no idea where it is. Maybe that's not how his email is.
Yeah, that's the other problem. You guys got some screwy name for his email.
Screwy name, damn it.
Screwy name.
Screwy.
Anyway, it's 33334. Sir Roger Boots, Mechanicsville, Iowa, 33333. Sir Roger Boots here. It's been quite a while using an old link.
And the link still works.
Apparently, yeah. And that's all he's got to say. Sir Kevlar, 33333 from Smyrna, Georgia. He says, ITM, could I have an Obama, you might die, 2 to the head, and an oh my God, amazing, please.
Yeah, we can do it. 2 to the head and
You might die. No, you might die first.
Yeah, I got that. OMG, was it amazing? Yes. Okay, here we go. And a karma as well?
Yeah, sure.
You might die.
That is amazing.
You've got karma.
Good combo.
Yeah, nice.
Kevlar sent me a separate note, right after I sent the second text email out.
Yeah,
bitching. He says, "Hey, I was just about to send a donation. Thanks for the reminder." It was quite funny. Well timed.
Good one.
Nicholas Blexrud, $333. ITM, gents, we're second-time donors, long-time boners. It's been a while since our last donation. Can we get a de-douching?
Yes, by request, I think so.
You've been de-douched.
John, your sad letter tugged at our heartstrings and our purse strings. Thank you to you and Adam for keeping us from going dateline on each other and keeping our marriage strong.
Oh.
My husband hit me in the mouth during our move from Portland to Austin a few years ago, and our life. Who is this from?
This is from Nicholas Bexrud.
Well, it's his wife writing the note.
Oh, Anna and Nick, yes.
Anna.
Yeah.
Okay, the first time. My husband hit me in the mouth during our move from Portland to Austin. Oh, she lives in Austin.
Mm-hmm.
A few months ago, and our Portland to Austin. Wow. Wow.
That's like a lateral move, man.
Well, yeah, but it's a different kind of hipster.
Yeah.
Although years ago, and our lives haven't been mostly meat-eating hipsters in Austin.
Oh, yeah.
Come on. I haven't been the same as Franklin's. Haven't been the same since. The first time I listened, I was shocked by the oddball jingles. But then I grew to love you both. Recently, we hit my mom in the mouth, and she thinks you're all the funniest pair. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Thanks for all you do, John and Adam. Love, Anna and Nick.
Yeah, we'll give them a karma as well. Thank you, you crazy kids. And we'll see you at the meetup, which is being planned as we speak.
Oh, yes, Austin meetup.
You've got
it's a big
karma.
One. It's a big one.
All right, now we have another with a noteless donation. Brian Lawson. Now, he did send an email in, 333. Let's see what he says. He sent 2. Sorry, I've been overboard lately. Just paid $3.33 through PayPal. Happy holidays. That's it.
Okay. Thank you very much. Happy holidays.
To you. And now back to real news. Sir Chris Spears in Austin, another Austonian.
It's crazy down here.
It's crazy talk. By the way, if you look at the numbers on the mailing list, what state do you think has the most no agenda people on it?
What state has the most no agenda people in it?
Yeah. In terms of the new mailing list, people that have actually gotten that far.
I really have no idea.
Really?
No.
California by a lot.
Well, it's also the biggest state.
Well, what do you think second then?
New York?
Texas?
Really, it is second? Well, it's the same. It's backup California. It's all the same thing.
Backup California.
Yeah. We're California on the bench here. So whenever you need us, we'll pop in, Coach. We're ready for you.
Yep. Chris Spears in Austin, 322. I hope this small bit of value for your value finds you well as I look forward to my celebrating my birthday tomorrow. I think he's on the list. I felt it appropriate to celebrate your commitment to putting out an outstanding product. With this contribution, I crossed the threshold for barony.
All right.
And find the territory of my residence already claimed. In the interim, I demand my Seedman cow chimera clip that was promised in the show notes a while back. You know anything about this?
Well, I know about the clip. I'm not sure. I mean, you're in charge of the peerage committee, so I'm not sure what the territory.
I didn't know that he was going. I have no knowledge of this.
Well,
I need to know it, Chris.
Well, he
the
says
protocol surrounding territorial claims within the peerage system is ambiguous. Should I just claim Buenos Aires? Well, that would simplify things.
Yeah, that's the Baron of Buenos Aires. It's good. We're good to go.
My God, for 25 years, they've been growing babies in cows.
There you go. That's what he was looking for. Thank you very much, Sir Chris.
Stephen Rink came with a check, $320.32 from Frisco, Texas. And all he put on he didn't send a note. I can't find an email. And he put 4 boobs with the number 4.
Maybe he wants boobs.
No, maybe if you take the 8008 times 4, you get 320.32. Is that what it sounds like to you? Multiply 8008 times 4?
Could be.
No, could be nothing. It's what it is.
Okay, then there you go. 4-time boobs. But why does he want 4 boobs?
He just said 4 boobs. He didn't say he wanted 4 boobs.
Got it.
Kyle Blank in Houston, Texas, $300.11. JCD, the collection of essays was brilliant. It wasn't a collection, it was one. Oh, he's thinking of all of them.
All of them, yeah.
Yeah, I've done quite a few. And it could be turned into a giblet. In fact, I'm going to do that. Jumping in with an executive producer donation because the shows of late have been outstanding. He just needs some karma.
You've got karma.
Now we go to associate executive producer, starting with James Schmid, $258.39. Back after a dry spell, again a donor, not a boner. I need some healing karma for an old pal who is in an ICU facing bad juju from lung disease. Media deconstruction continues to be brilliant. Keep up the stellar work, gents.
There you go. Healing karma on its way.
You've got karma.
George Knath in Westfield, New Jersey, 250. Your shows have been good. Like other listeners, I especially like the Eurozone discussions because nobody else does them.
That's a Euroland is what we call them here.
Yeah, Eurozone actually only, Eurozone actually refers specifically to the countries within the EU that use the euro as their currency.
Right.
So when you say Eurozone, you're leaving out a lot of countries.
That's Brexit, man.
It's Brexit talk.
It's Brexit talk, yeah.
I do not believe their center, i.e. their laws, are robust enough to hold it together. You provide deconstruction in the news that forces one to think and to listen closely. I'm the oldest of the Knuth clan, or the Kunath clan, and that has many fans and a few contributors. My nephew, Colin, who is knighted, is recovering from brain surgery as well as can be expected. He has gone back to work full-time and continues to regain his strength. Thanks, George M. Kunath, pronounced Kuneth, similar to Namath. Kuneth, which I think I've been pronouncing correctly. But let's give his
give it a little
some karma.
Some karma for sure.
You've got karma.
Sir Cal.
Lavender Blossoms.
$1.32.
The official hemp dealer of the show. Or CBD, I should say. CBD dealer of the show.
Yeah. Berg, winter's here. Remember to get your amazing lip balm at lavenderblossoms.org.
I have to say, I do like the lip balm. There's nothing like putting some CBD lip balm on.
Yeah, probably good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, guys. Stay healthy, Sir Cal. Please hit me with a Monsanto jingle.
Monsanto. Always ready for you. Thank you very much, Sir Cal.
Christian Castro in Verona, Wisconsin, 22222. I've been enjoying a No Agenda and mental hygiene for over a decade. Please mention Obscuratech, the Obscuratech camera cover decals available at obscuratech.com. That's obscure.
Is this basically a sticker sold as technology?
Protect your identity with Obscuratech decals. The only way to assure no one is checking you out. By the way, I should mention this. I should take some photos of them. So I bought a set of those stickers, and I swear to God, they're gorgeous. These are available on Amazon. You can just look them up. These look like light. They look like plates. Power. The little plug-in things where you've got your, what do they call it? You plug in. There's a wall socket. They look like wall sockets.
Okay.
It looks exactly like a wall socket. It's somewhat dimensional. It's got some shading. And people have been sticking them on the walls in airports.
So you go up to stick in your laptop charger, and it's just a sticker.
Yeah.
Oh, what's the payoff though? Something funny should happen.
The payoff is you sitting there cracking up. It's boring in an airport. So, but you could put these stickers on anything, and they're funny. You get about 12 of them for like $5 or something, and it's really worth it.
So these Obscuratech, I'm looking at the website. The Obscuratech stickers are interesting. What they are is they're stickers that resemble your camera on your device, even though it's obscuring the actual camera.
Oh, it's covering the camera.
But it makes it look like
it's still there.
It's still there. Yeah.
That's cool. I just use gaffer's tape, but I would use one of these.
No, this is much nicer than Gaffer's.
Yeah. Well, Gaffer's also is gooey and it gets all over everything. Gaffer's is fine. It's a great sticking temporary tape. But if you leave it there too long.
No. It goes all sticky and gooey and rotten on you. You don't want that.
It's the worst. Don't use Gaffer's tape for anything semi-permanent. This is a piece of advice.
All right. Thank you very much, Christian. Thank you for the support. And you want some karma. Interesting, those decals, for sure.
You've got karma.
Mark Jasper in Alhambra, California, 220. Omega Project wishes all. May you be well, may you be happy, and may you find peace.
Thank you very much.
Andrew Brewer in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, $200.02. Boner since the 600 episodes, but always propagating the formula and never miss an episode. I hear many North Carolina donors announced, high time for a meetup. A de-douching, please.
You've been de-douched.
Yeah, let's get that started.
We have a lot of, there's a tech center in North Carolina is a tech state in an awkward way because IBM had his Winston-Salem, the research triangle in Raleigh was a huge tech center, very competitive. And so you have a lot of engineers and guys like that in North Carolina, and the best barbecue in the country. depending, all over the state. Joshua Landon in Cincinnati, Ohio, 200. I haven't donated because Thursday's show happens on my birthday. And I decided to donate because Thursday's show happens on my birthday. I figured it was time to chip in and help the show during this lull period of donations. Indeed. I would appreciate a birthday shout out as I'm turning 39 and accelerating rapidly towards 40. If you wish, please play 2 Al Sharpton clips and a mac and cheese song. Thanks for all the media deconstruction in 2018. And wish you both a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Tonight is the measure of whether the country begins in the state of Wisconsin a national drive to push back, or whether we have more to go to build a movement of resistance. But resist we must. RESPICT.
Mac and cheese life. Mac and cheese by Ayn Rand.
You've got karma.
And Joshua is Sir Foxbat.
Yes.
And that will be our list of executive, associate executive producers responsible for show 1094. I want to thank each and every of one of them as we head toward show 1100, which will be our first show of the year 2019.
And thank you. Really, that is the first show? It is actually show number 1100?
Yep.
Wow, that's a coincidence.
I think
not. Thank you to our executive producers and associate executive producers. Really came through in an odd way. I wish it didn't have to be like this every time, but it's highly appreciated. And all of these credits are ones that are recognized internationally. Wherever you go, wherever people look at credits in the content creation and production realm, you can use these and easily say, excuse me, I am an executive producer of the No Agenda Show, episode 1094, I'll have you know. And the chicks will take their dresses off in a heartbeat.
It will. And run.
We'll be thanking more people later on, $50 and above. And please support us and remember us for the show on Sunday.
Dvorak.org/NA.
That's right. Take your credits and run, or go out there and propagate the formula.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Order.
Shut up, slave.
Shut up, slave. I was thinking about deplatforming over the weekend.
Yeah?
It works.
I mean, it works.
Well, when's the last time you saw anything on television, mind you, about Milo?
Oh, Milo definitely got sidelined.
When's the last time you heard anything on television about Alex Jones?
Just recently.
Only because he showed up at the hearing. That's the only thing you heard about him just recently.
Yes, this is right.
And that's what made me think about it. Like this deplatforming. I mean, I know how to listen to Alex Jones if I want to, but he's not in my mind at all. I don't think about him anymore. Laura Loomer, who chained herself to Twitter's front door in New York City. She's been
Loomerized herself.
Yeah, but also, I mean, what happens is, and if you notice, by the way, these people who get deplatformed, the only ones that matter, and you should pay attention, and I think I'm being protected in hindsight, is those with a check mark. The check marks, I believe that there is a tracking mechanism going on. It's very unclear how these verified check marks work. I've tried for years. I gave up on it, and now I've always said I think I'm kind of happy because it seems to be the mark of the beast, but it really is. And they're tracking. Anyone who's a journo in the school newspaper gets a verified check mark. So they are clearly tracking mainly news and those who spread news and who are influencers, and you're one of them. You are a columnist, a journalist, an influencer, and without my check mark, I am.
You're a nothing. You're a nudnik.
No, I'm a non-playing character. I'm an NPC, and I'm an NPC in the big game of Twitter.
Oh, NPC.
I'm completely unimportant. No matter what I do, I'll never go away because I'm an NPC. I'm just meant to spin around.
Oh, you're saving the day then.
Yes, it's a game with real consequences. This is when you step back. It's like if you're not on Twitter, if you get deplatformed mainly from Twitter, you're gone. Your career is over. Laura Loomer, you're right. She Loomered herself. She's gone. She is just gone. And somehow there's some big game, and it interacts with the mainstream media in the United States for sure. And if you got a check mark, you basically have a target on you all the time. And you have to be very careful.
Well, I'm very careful.
Oh, I know you are. But even though,
I mean, that's why we took the bullet thing from the art. We removed it and used the other one.
Damn, we succumbed. We succumbed to the.
No, there's certain things you got to do. You just have to play. Yes, you have to play by a certain set of rules. We get around most of them because we have no advertisers telling us what to do, or no corporate guy. Hey, you can't do that. We have to self-police.
Yeah, we do.
But we can self-police in favor of our listeners and producers because, and I'm going to say it, at the end of the day, that particular piece of artwork wasn't that important.
No. Oh, no. We make choices. It's actually, let's just stay on advertising for a moment since you brought that up. Something new is happening. Everyone's all aflutter about it because finally we're bringing spying to podcasts. I could not be more proud, everybody. Way to go. Oh, yes, we're bringing spying to podcasting. We're now going to spy on you like the big boys. This has been a project mainly of NPR. I follow all the podcast industry news, and the big complaint about about advertising and podcast is there's no way to track it if someone just downloaded it. Did they listen to it? How much did they listen to?
Downloaded.
We don't know if the message is getting out. So first, the industry came up with some agreements as to what a download is, which I question. But it's okay. At least it's an agreement that's no better or worse than the Nielsen rating. Nielsen. But now they've gone completely stupid. And they decided, no, we're going to make it so we can really track how far in you're listening to this. And this falls under the protocol RAD. It is now version 3 of RAD, which is remote audio data, being the data that you are giving remotely. And the way it works, oh yeah, they have a framework, which is on the GitHub. And this is NPR, and I think they've implemented it in their NPR One app.
Well, they're going to be highly disappointed. The results.
Well, that's one part of the stupidity of it all. But they also have this idea that here's my framework. Please put it into your podcast player so the industry as a whole can track and see. Because what you really need is two pieces: the production, the MP3 itself, in the ID3 tags where you put in the title and the artwork. And oh, by the way, I noticed that my recording software had defaulted back to only the author who registered the program I use, Hindenburg. So instead of Adam Curry and John C. Dvorak, it just said me. I don't know how long it's been doing that, but someone alerted me to that. But then you add a special little tracking URL or multiple tracking URLs so that when your player hits a certain mark that you also have to put into the podcast, it'll then hit that URL. And then it will say, hey, this guy over here listened to this point in this podcast. And you're going to hear and this is why I pulled these clips. This is the guy who's really on the implementation side. He's not on the content creation side, and he says a lot of things he shouldn't. He is not the guy to communicate this because it sounds like you're just being creepy and spying. And in fact, that's what you're doing. And it's going, as John said, you're going to be very disappointed when you find out how many people are actually listening, and to have the gall to say we won't know who you are when this takes place is just a lie of epic proportions.
That is a lie. There's IP addresses that you can figure it out.
You'll know what phone you have. A lot of people. Oh, yeah. This comes from phones.
Well, it's like when you have a blog number. And you go to the back end of it. It tells you what browser people are using, where they're coming from.
Now, it'll give you your unique device ID because it's mainly a phone. I mean, all this stuff is just given to you through the HTTP request itself. I'm paraphrasing, but believe me, this is possible. Here he is. Brian Moffat of NPR explains.
Okay, so the challenge in the podcasting space over the last decade is...
Hey, John, the challenge in the podcasting space over the last decade is really about what's the download, who's listening,
Okay, so the challenge in the podcasting space over the last decade has been all of us have been circling around a better definition of a download. And this is largely because most of the places where people listen are not places that, we control the distribution. So it's Apple Podcasts is the largest, and you've got a bunch of other apps.
Now listen to what he says, something interesting about who controls the distribution. And he views the podcast app as the person or the entity that controls the distribution. And I disagree.
Why?
Because they don't control whether something is, whether you can get it or not. And if he's talking about what they promote, sure, I'm sure that lots of podcasts in fact, he'll talk about it, take money to promote certain podcasts. So enhancing distribution, yeah, but they don't control it.
Okay.
But iTunes doesn't host our file. I'm just saying.
We control the distribution. So it's Apple Podcasts is the largest, and you've got a bunch of other apps that distribute our content for free. And so all we know is that somebody requested the file.
Now listen to how he's talking. He's talking about his content, his NPR's content. He's not talking about anybody else but them.
And we know if the bytes were delivered successfully to that user, and that's kind of where we are with the IAB and the common definition known as IAB v2, so we can all speak the same language about downloads. That's been great. It's, I think, a huge step forward for the industry that we all have that definition, but we know there's downloads that don't get played. All you got to do is look at your own behavior. There's so much good stuff out there that you don't quite get to everything. We have good research that says people listen to most of what they download, and that's been great. But what we want to get at is a way to understand from all those places where our podcasts are played, which files that were downloaded actually got listened to. And I think it's really important to interject here. We're not worried about who listened to it. We're just worried that someone listened to it, because that's the information we don't have, and that's all we're really looking to get. Same things we learned from NPR One. What kind of engagement are we getting with this content? Is it worth the distribution deals we're making with all these different platforms? Are people listening to what they download?
Do you hear that? The deals we make with all these. So NPR is apparently paying podcast apps to highlight their content.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, and so there's only but there's only a few of them out there. There's not that many that are being
By the way,
used.
as soon as he starts talking about this, we don't care who it is. I'm thinking, okay, opening the door. What else are these click farms out in the Philippines and India? They've been kind of busted recently. Let's give them something else to do.
Oh, yeah. And it's just URLs. It's not that hard to replicate. In fact, here's his technical pitch.
So in a quick overview, what we're talking about with remote audio data is actually very, very simple. Inside those audio files, which are typically MP3s, although it can be MP4s or other formats, all we want to do is put a little extra metadata that tells where the important points in the file are. Where are the quartile markers? Where is the halfway point? For our sponsors, where was a sponsorship starting and ending? So that we can have the podcast playback platforms, when listening happens at one of those points, just send us back a little ping that says listening happened at that point. That's all we're asking for. It's hardly any data at all. We're not asking for any user information or PII. It's simply somebody listened at that point in that file, and that's the basic metric we're looking to get back.
Yeah, I'm very against this. I don't want anyone knowing what I'm listening to. And you can tell me 100 times that we don't know anything about you. That's bullcrap. I don't want anyone to know what podcasts I listen to. I'm not going to report that. Marco from
You've already been embarrassed by the fact that Twitter outed you as a Britney Spears follower.
Exactly.
God knows what podcast you're listening to.
Just so you know, she also follows me. So that's how that came to be. She started following me. I'm like, okay, Brit, no, I'll follow you back. Marco from Overcast, which I think is arguably the second most popular app, has said he's not going to implement it. And that does not seem to be even what is the app that NPR bought? They bought Pocket Cast. They say it's not on their roadmap. So I don't know if this is really going to go anywhere. I sure hope not. This is not right for podcasting.
Why? Who cares? If you're not doing anything wrong, what difference does it make if they know you're listening to the Britney Spears podcast?
It's the Taylor Swift podcast that I listen to, not Britney.
Oh. Well, that's different. All right. Well, I think that's it. You don't have no more conclusions to make except that you think this is a bad idea.
Well, you kind of started to shut me down, so I was done.
They never call you up.
Oh, why would
these
they?
Reports?
No.
When's the last time you were called by anyone to make some one-line comment? Of course, they take about 30 lines. They steal one of them. One-line comment about the whole scene, the whole podcasting scene, which happens to be hot right now.
I cannot remember.
Yeah, because
it's been
never
so
happened.
long ago. Yeah.
It's not like they can't get a hold of you.
No, I did get something.
Although they looked probably on your Twitter account and say, hey, he didn't get it. It's not him. He didn't get a check mark.
I did get a written interview request, which I complied with. And I think that was from the UAE, Arab Emirates. I'll have to look it up. It was very detailed.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'll do something like that. No one ever asked me anything. Why would they?
No.
I mean,
know?
I've only been through it all once. I've already seen how it won't work. It's okay.
Yeah, well, that's the reason they're not. Now you know.
Now you know why
they're not going to call you.
Yes, exactly.
You're going to throw a wet blanket on it.
Sorry, guys.
All right. Well, we got enough wet blankets to throw on our own stuff, so we'll do that.
I want to go back.
It doesn't mean anything to us because we ask our listeners and producers to take part in the show and contribute to keeping it going.
It's truly
the show would suck if it had sponsors.
It's the best way to do it. It is and people love it. Enough secrets given away.
All right, here we go. Bloomberg was on The View.
Oh, jeez. You didn't actually watch it. This is a clip you just got or someone sent it to you?
What do you think?
Well, you've been very critical of President Trump, and you've been openly weighing a run against him in 2020. I mean, it's pretty open.
Yeah.
And you started with running the last time. Do you regret that you didn't run the last time?
No, I think we found is you cannot win as an independent because the Electoral College requires a majority, not a plurality. And even if I did get a lot of electoral votes, you couldn't possibly win. It would have gone to the House, and the House would then pick the Republican candidate, or if it was next time, pick the Democratic candidate.
What is his lie?
He's claiming that if you run as an independent, the Electoral College won't recognize you. It's going to go to the House, and he's going on and on with some nonsense. But that's okay.
Then pick the Republican candidate, or if it was next time, pick the Democratic candidate.
Yeah,
and you have to have the.
You become a spoiler in a way.
Yeah, that's exactly what my obit would have been. He was the spoiler. And this way, so they can write other things about me when I die.
Okay. What would make it more appealing to you then for 2020?
Well, you'd only run if you could get the Republican or the Democratic nomination. Obviously, the Republican's probably not going to be available, and I don't agree with almost everything they stand for today. So it'd have to be the Democratic nomination. And if you want to run, that's what you'd have to do. And I don't know. I've looked at it, and I've said we'll, beginning of the year, focus on it.
No chance ever. He's so boring. You can't put that one back. We need excitement. No one will vote for him.
He's delusional.
Well, there's that. He's just boring.
And of course, if anyone read the essay that was in the last failed newsletter, they will realize that the real problem that the Democrats have is Hillary, and they're not doing everything they can to avoid talking about her, including Maureen Dowd, who came out with a very interesting piece in the New York Times where she hates Hillary. And she says, oh, Bill and Hillary are going on their tour. You have to pay $700 to go listen to them, and their places are dead empty. And then they have a picture.
Oh, they're on Groupon. They're even the tickets are on Groupon.
Yeah, they're empty. They're failed. Fail.
Michelle Obama is selling out internationally.
This is but this is the meme. Do we know any of this for a fact?
What, Michelle Obama selling out internationally?
Or the Clintons not selling out at all?
Well, the Clintons have had empty seats, and Michelle Obama has had full seats. In fact, I got a lot of email from people because their tickets went on sale today in the Netherlands. She's also appearing there. And she's got some big venues. Yes. Becoming Michelle Obama.
They're definitely making a point of pushing this meme into the media, trying to get Hillary off the track of running again, because if she does, they've got all kinds of problems.
It would split the vote a lot.
It would really. I believe as I expressed in the essay, she deserves to win. And I'll give a little summary of what the problem the Democrats have is that and that's why they're pivoting away from the Russia collusion thing. You have to pivot away from it, because if it's Russia collusion and the 2016 election was rigged, that means Hillary was jobbed.
Ah, yes, and she got ripped off, and she deserves.
She needs justice for Hillary. She got screwed. She should be given a second chance.
I like that.
I got a letter from somebody saying, yeah, well, Hillary would kick his ass if she ran again.
Maybe.
I don't. Maybe is the right word, but doubtful is another word that I think you can use. Anyway, so that's
something happened. Time Magazine came out with their Person of the Year, and I'm not sure, did they do 4 different covers, or it's a rotating cover? They can never seem to make up their mind. But what they did is they made it about journalists.
Khashoggi.
Yeah, they put Khashoggi on, and then, but also the people who were killed. Remember when they were gunned down at the newspaper office?
Yeah.
Was it in Delaware? No, where was it? Well, doesn't matter. But
Maryland, I think.
But my question is was he a journalist, or was he a columnist, or an essayist? I mean, you bill yourself as a columnist, for instance, on the DH Unplugged show. Is there a difference? If so, what is the difference? And should Khashoggi be treated as a journalist like he is being treated by Time Magazine?
No. And I'll tell you what I think. The point is journalists do journalism. They go out and report. He's not a reporter. But now when you get down to columnists, you get a lot of columnists where you go to certain editors, and the editors don't like columnists because they don't like anybody who can just blather. They don't like that. They'd rather have somebody doing reporting. So they've actually demanded that columnists report. I want to see more reporting in this column. What's a column? It's an opinion piece. It's somebody's idea of, what's going on in the world that might give somebody else some insight, which was a good example in the essay I wrote, which is a kind of a column. It's an essay, really. And good columns to me are essays. They're not reportage. But Khashoggi showed no signs of ever being a reporter. I mean, I could do it. I can go out and stick a microphone in somebody's face and ask them a question and record it. It's not that hard. Journalism is actually not that difficult. It's not. I'm gonna say
well, I like that. I like that. Thank you, because that would really get you in hot water with your libjos if you said, journalism's not easy.
They just don't like to talk about it.
Well, the question was posed.
But one of my libjo friends always says, "Hey, why are we talking about this? We're not Hemingway."
The question of journalist versus columnist was posed to Professor Chris Chambers, professor of media studies at Georgetown University, and this was on RT. His answer, as you can imagine, differed from what you just said.
Okay, Professor, I have to tell you, it's great. Do you think this is a good thing for Time to actually recognize?
I think so. I mean, it's about time, because we're entering a very dark time in terms of getting information out there, people relying too much on gossip and innuendo and fake news. And seeing that this is a dangerous profession, and people need to see that, I think. And I think this was a great choice for them. And I don't think it was gimmicky. Gimmicky probably would have been Robert Mueller or somebody like that. I think they took the hard way, for this. I mean, they could have gone with Robert Mueller or somebody like that. They went with this, and I applaud them finally for doing this.
Absolutely. Now, to put all of them together, though, I think the question that a lot of us, especially if you were a journalism student and you watched the news, you have to question, is there a difference, though, between being a columnist and a journalist? And is that kind of not necessarily defined amongst these 4 covers?
Well, I haven't read the companion piece yet, but I think what my opinion is, they're trying to find a common language that everybody can kind of hook look into and not make these fine distinctions. Now, what I tell my students is that the minute somebody puts a bullet in your head, you're probably a journalist. Because if you're a columnist, I mean, some of the people at the Gazette were columnists. It's presenting information, whatever platform or outlet you use, be it, your opinion and personal essays or going for hard exposés. You're doing something that upsets some very powerful people. And rather than having them debate you on that, they send a group of assassins after you, or they go crazy and walk into your office and blow you away. And I think that once you take a bullet or a knife, I think everybody is pretty much a journalist at that point.
Wow. How wrong could you be, John? Once you take a bullet, then all of a sudden you're a journo.
Huh.
I thought that to be interesting. Now, he really only wrote for the Washington Post for about a year. It wasn't all that long. And Sibel Edmonds, who typically news bud, I don't look at what they're doing over there usually, just not enough time in the day. But Sibel Edmonds, when it comes to Turkey, she knows what's going on, and she's been filing for the past 7 or 8 weeks a lot of reports about Khashoggi from Turkey, and she has not done anything final. There's no clips to listen to from her reporting, at least. But she says she feels that this was definitely some kind of operation, but not from the Saudis. She believes it was the Muslim Brotherhood, and mainly from Qatar, because with all these changes with the Saudi royal family, Khashoggi basically chose the wrong side. But he chose the anti-MBS side. But in the week before anything happened to him, whatever it was, in his Arabic publications, according to Sibel Edmonds, he flipped and he became much more positive, and he really wanted to go back to Saudi Arabia. And the thinking from Edmonds is, and she worked for the FBI, she was a translator, she had very high security clearance, and she's been a whistleblower on this stuff for a long time. I think she has credibility in this area for sure. That she believes that it was the Muslim Brotherhood, and in particular the Qataris, who just jumped out of OPEC. Let's just add that there. There's all kinds of problems between them and Saudi Arabia. They didn't want Khashoggi giving the Saudis any intimate details about their operation, and that the fiancé who brought him to the consulate, who we've never heard from again, where are the interviews with her? Have we seen anything from the fiancé? He just got married for the second time. He had 2 wives already. And this was now his girlfriend in Turkey. And what the Newsbud people allege is that she was a honeypot to get him in. And that's where things were taken care of. But for some reason, she feels it was not Saudi Arabia. It was the Qataris, and in particular, through Muslim Brotherhood affiliated groups. So I'm kind of looking at, we already, I think, asserted that Khashoggi may be some form of spy. Not just your typical little columnist. He spoke at the Pentagon. We had all kinds of clips. And then here's the woman who hired him at the Washington Post. This is Karen Attiah. And she has a very short Wikipedia entry for someone who is the global opinion editor of the Washington Post. Or is that a very easy job to get? What's your opinion of that?
It's one of those, it's a weird job. It's not that easy to get. And the Washington Post would be probably a difficult job because it's important. Washington, D.C. based operation. It'd be non-trivial.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean you're going to have a lot of creds that anybody would want to see in the Wikipedia.
Well, exactly. Here's what she has. Born August 12th. Ghanaian American writer and global opinions editor for the Washington Post. Born in northeastern Texas to a Nigerian Ghanaian mother and Ghanaian father. After a bachelor's degree at Northwestern University, Attiah won a Fulbright scholarship to study in Accra, Ghana, and obtained a Master of Arts from Columbia University before joining the Washington Post. That's a pretty quick timeline.
Yeah, it's very spooky, too.
Yeah, well, this is exactly what I was thinking. I'm thinking Spot the Spook, maybe.
A spot the spook,
Everybody wants to spot.
So let's see if we can put it to the test and listen to the words she's using or that are used with her in regards to Khashoggi.
I mean, it does seem fitting.
Oops, this one here.
Karen Attiah is with me. She's a global opinions editor for The Washington Post, and it was Karen who recruited Khashoggi to the Post about a year ago.
I like
so,
the
Karen,
recruit
always
word.
a pleasure to have you on, and I just wanted you to react to the president, saying it was it's the world, this vicious world, to blame for Jamal's murder. What do you make of that?
It's just such a, for a president and an administration that has been so preoccupied with projecting strength, with projecting America first. It just is such a sort of weak and cynical statement, and it denotes a sort of helplessness in the face of human rights abuses, of repression, and says nothing of our role in, at least in this case, in the case of Jamal's murder, in the case of the.
Stop.
Yeah.
Couple of things to note. One, if she's not hyperventilating, she's nervous as hell.
Yeah.
So that makes me think she's probably not a spook. Because I can't imagine her not being able to hold it together with a simple question like this. She's been competent. But I don't, when somebody's as nervous, it always makes you wonder how they get these positions.
Any other observations?
Not yet, besides the fact that she uses weird language.
No, we'll finish. Yeah, we'll finish this one up, and then the final clip may tell us more.
And says nothing of, our role in, at least in this case, in the case of Jamal's murder, in the case of the war in Yemen, in the case of what we're seeing to be, a global instability and repression coming from Saudi Arabia, denying that we have any sort of role to play in stopping this.
I don't think that was an answer to the question, but okay. She recruited Khashoggi just over a year ago, and all this love and adoration, and we have to play this up. And thank you, Washington Post, for making that also very clear. And then we get to the flub where the truth always wants to come out. 1 minute clip of her with Anderson Pooper.
I mean, it does seem fitting and also incredibly sad that his last column, would be about freedom of the press in the Arab world.
It's fitting, but it's in our time working together, especially in the last several weeks.
You hear the difference in her voice now?
A little bit.
Yeah.
He was very, again, he would come into the office. We had lunch a couple of weeks ago, and he was very adamant about wanting to do more in Arabic. He wanted to create a sort of, International Herald Tribune for the Arab world.
The International Herald Tribune for the Arab world? Isn't the IHT, isn't that a known CIA publication?
Well,
it's propaganda.
The IHT was always, I don't know how much propaganda. I've had material in there.
Propaganda.
It was always a joint venture between the New York Times and the Washington Post, which is sketchy if you think about it.
Yeah, yes.
And I think it was recently, the Washington Post was kicked out and the New York Times took it over.
Mm-hmm.
And I could be wrong. It's one of the two. All I know, it's not what it once was, which was this joint venture. And if you want to say that it's a mouthpiece for the CIA because they message overseas in it, because it's something you buy when you're in London, you're floating around. If you're a traveler, you pick it up because it's good. It's got a summary of everything. And if you want, by saying that it's a mouthpiece for the CIA, you have to be saying that the New York Times is too.
Right. So, but why would this even be the topic of conversation? Just seem like an odd thing to say, I really want to build the International Herald Tribune for the Arab world. I mean, is it relevant anymore? No,
I don't know.
No, it doesn't matter. The flub is still coming.
Wanting to do more in Arabic, he wanted to create a sort of, International Herald Tribune for the Arab world, and I think that he he really he wanted to be free. He just saw how journalism was being smashed around the Arab world, and so it was something that he's really pushing for, very pushy about. He wasn't a very pushy writer at all, but on this note, it was something that he was really passionate about, and to the point where he'd say, "Karen, I would do this for free. Just let me do this. I'll set up editors. I'll figure it out." And we were discussing even setting up some sort of newsletter, perhaps, that he could helm and take charge of. And so it is poetic, and it is fitting that this would be the last column that I would edit for him.
The truth always wants to come out. It's so fitting this would be the last column I'd write for. It
is fitting that this would be the last column that I would edit for him.
And there's this long silence.
Karen Attiah, I appreciate you joining us. Thank you.
The video is great. It's in the show notes, nashownotes.com. You can see she realizes she made a mistake, and she does this big gulp, and Anderson's just looking at her all starry-eyed.
It wouldn't surprise me that he was a front for somebody else's writing.
Yeah.
She was ghostwriting for him. That wouldn't surprise me. It's not unusual. You have some brand name person.
Right.
Next thing you know, they have a column, and somehow they've become pretty good writers. How does that work? It's not that easy. It's easy just to write aimlessly, but to piece things together so they're well structured and you're not all, a mess.
Right.
It's not that easy. And turns out with most editors, and a lot of them will tell you this too, I feel this way myself. Sometimes it's easier for me just to write. Somebody wants to write something and they can't write. Let me just do it.
Oh, I'm not arguing. But you put all the pieces together. He's the cover of Time magazine, a columnist who wrote for a little over a year, probably didn't write his own material, as you point out. Why? What symbol? Why is this being played up, in particular by everything connected to the Washington Post? What is the point?
I have no idea, but I think that if the first clips that you had are worth considering by not clips, but the discussion of that woman who's the investigative reporter with creds.
Yeah.
That this was an operation. Because, MBS did arrest, have most of these people, and the only time that we've heard that, they're all associated with him.
Yeah.
Well, we got that from our news sources, and it could be bullcrap. I've never heard it from him.
No.
And they're probably going to be executed. Now, the question that comes to mind immediately is, how does the Muslim Brotherhood get inside the consulate the way they did, and then grab this guy and kill him without the consulate being implicit, which is possible because the Muslim Brotherhood is
they're everywhere.
They're everywhere in this a subversive operation.
Well, we've only heard a story. And the story,
we don't know anything.
Right, but Trudeau, back to the interview with Trudeau, was asked about this, and just listen how the story is now fact.
I want to move to another thing that happened at the G20 when you took some time to meet with the Saudi prince, the Saudi crown prince, MBS.
Did you realize he had met with the Saudi prince? What an outrage. I can't believe. Did he shake his hand? This is an outrage.
He raised the issue of Raif Badawi, his sister, Jamal Khashoggi, and the war in Yemen. How does a leader respond to another leader coming up to him and saying, listen, we have some problems here? How does he respond to that?
Assuming that he did that.
Well, I think that very much depends on the way things are phrased. And my frame in all cases on the world stage is Canada wants to be helpful in moving us towards a better place as a planet. It's never a situation of imagining that we can stand there and tell another country what to do or how to do it. It's saying, look, it would be great if you were to do this, and we could be helpful in moving forward in a constructive way.
How do you say to the Crown Prince, we're pretty sure you were involved in the killing of an innocent journalist?
Oh, we say we need better answers on that. We need better accountability. The killing of a journalist is something that is extremely serious to Canadians, to me.
And his response to you saying that, with you knowing full well what you know about the intelligence behind it?
Oh, wait a minute. Apparently he's been read into this report that never was published, that the CIA denies. That's what she said.
To me,
and his response to you saying that, with you knowing full well what you know about the intelligence behind it?
His response is, look, we're happy to continue to work and get more information and more proof. And if you have proof or information, continue to provide it. So that's exactly what.
And do you roll your eyes at that point?
Being a leader on the world stage involves having an ability to engage with all types of people without letting personal feelings overtake one's involuntary movements.
Yeah, you know why? Involuntary movement. He's full of crap. The reason why he's not doing anything is because of the arms deal that Scandinavia has with Saudi Arabia. Oh, maybe we should put some pressure on President Trudeau. Prime Minister. What is he?
Well, I'm sure that reporter asked him that.
Yes, she did actually.
You said you also made it clear to the Crown Prince that Canada stands up for human rights. How can you say that to him, knowing that we are still selling those light armored vehicles? Is there not a contradiction in that?
This is a question that comes up not just in regards to.
Now, I'm just trying to wrap my head around this question. So Canada stands for human rights. I think what she means is, because we stand for human rights, we won't allow any business dealings with Saudi Arabia because they killed a journalist. But the actual business dealing is about weaponry that helps kill people. So where is the human rights in this? I can't put my head around the whole concept.
Yeah, it is funny. It's an ironic,
you said you also
question.
That's truly, this is the definition of irony right here.
Made it clear to the Crown Prince that Canada stands up for human rights. How can you say that to him, knowing that we are still selling those light armored vehicles? Is there not a contradiction in that?
This is a question that comes up not just in regards to Saudi Arabia, but in regards to a broad array of countries that have different levels of defense of human rights than Canadians have and Canadians expect. We try to look for constructive ways to have relationships that lead us to being able to be very frank on human rights, while at the same time look for a way where you're not, sort of shaking your fist at someone and saying, you've got to change, in an expectation.
Yet, please, everyone yell and scream that the United States does have to act that way. What a douche.
That alone will have them change.
Is the contract impossible to break?
There are reflections ongoing around.
Can we break the contract? Oh, there's reflections going around. So lie.
So just so I'm clear, though, the contract could be broken. It's possible.
As I highlighted, the contract has particular provisions both for confidentiality and around significant penalties in the billions of dollars. And it was a contract that was signed by the previous government, and we are looking at it. Obviously.
Yeah, in other words, we're not going to be stupid. We're not going to call for end to arms sales like the idiots in America, in the United States. That would be stupid. No, we're just going to keep selling it. Very good. And, of course, we have the question about the tape. And we all know that everyone's been read in. Everyone's has heard a copy. We all know what's going on. But yet, is there really a tape?
Have you heard the tape, or have you been briefed on what that tape is?
I have been briefed on what the tape is.
And what was that like?
Obviously, it's something that intelligence communities have taken and listened to and worked with, and is part of our reflection on getting real answers.
But could you characterize it for me?
I'm not going to characterize that.
Horrific?
I'm not going to characterize it.
There's no tape.
Well, there could be a tape that is. Why wouldn't they? Here, if I was part of this scheme, whatever the scheme is, I'd just get a bunch of actors together and produce a tape.
Yeah.
Another guy, somebody screaming, another guy, then muffle it so it sounds like, it's like in some guy's pocket, the microphone.
Yeah.
I don't think it's too hard to produce a tape unless it's a videotape. That would be tough. Well, where's the videotape?
You know what there is? There's nothing. There's nothing.
At the very beginning, they said there was a video.
There's not even a body. We don't even have a body. There's nothing. It's just a story. But the story is on Time Magazine, where the columnist becomes a journalist once you take a bullet to the head, even though he didn't take no bullet to the head.
Just call yourself a journalist. Skip the bullet part.
And just call yourself. Well, anyway. I find this very strange, and hopefully Sibel Edmonds will come up with more stuff. But it's not, something is very, very wrong with this, and it just brought it all back when we got it on the with this Time magazine cover.
Yeah. Well, let's see what we got here. I got a
transition clip is what we need.
Do you got to listen to this? This is a guy. I don't even know who this guy is. I've seen him before. He's some conspiracy guy. It was on some very strange Twitter account, which is like one of these Q, but it's not quite a QAnon type thing. And it's this guy explaining he goes, I just found it fascinating because there's so many holes in this story. And it doesn't really make any sense, and it's almost worth discussing just because it's so crazy. This is the crackpot This guy talks about Bergdahl and how it's a background on everything that's going on and what's really happening, and some of it might be true, some of it doesn't make any sense. But play this crackpot clip.
The real reason behind Bergdahl's release. Bergdahl was released in exchange for 5 Taliban generals in order to cover up the Obama-Hillary Stinger missile sales to Libya. So here's the real story. Ambassador Stevens was sent to Benghazi to secretly retrieve U.S.-made Stinger missiles that the State Department had supplied to Ansar al-Sharia in Libya without congressional oversight or permission. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton had brokered the Libya deal through Ambassador Stevens and a private arms dealer named Mark Turi. But some of the shoulder-fired Stinger missiles ended up in Afghanistan, where they were used against our own military. On July 25, 2012, a U.S. Chinook helicopter was downed by one of them. Not destroyed only because the idiot Taliban didn't arm the missile. The helicopter didn't explode, but it had to land, and an ordnance disposal team recovered the missile serial number, which led back to a cache of Stinger missiles kept in Qatar by the CIA. Obama and Hillary were in full panic mode, so Ambassador Stevens was sent to Benghazi to retrieve the rest of the Stinger missiles. This was a do-or-die mission, which explains the stand-down orders given to multiple rescue teams during the siege of the U.S. Embassy. It was not the State Department, not the CIA, that supplied the Stinger missiles to our sworn enemies, because General Petraeus at CIA would not approve supplying the deadly missiles due to their potential use against commercial aircraft. So then, Obama threw General Petraeus under the bus when he refused to testify in support of Obama's phony claim that a spontaneous uprising caused by a YouTube video that insulted Muslims. Obama and Hillary committed treason. This is what the investigation is all about. Why she had a private server in order to delete the digital evidence.
You know, this not so crackpot, I've heard this theory, and I know, I can't remember the guy's name who does this podcast. It's on YouTube, I think. It sounds very plausible, and this is what I've heard from many people.
If you say that, what's Bergdahl and the 5 generals from the Taliban have to do with any of it?
That part, I'm not so sure about.
He throws that in at the very beginning to give us the.
I'm not sure why.
So when I hear that kind of thing, I'm thinking of this is one of those things where you start to you're throwing a chum in the water with kind of screwball stuff, and if you take this thing apart piece by piece by piece, you realize that none of it makes any sense. I think this guy's completely full of crap. I stick by our old thesis, which it was a kidnapping gone astray. The Stinger missile story. I'd like to get some evidence for that. If there's any evidence that one of these choppers was brought down by a dead missile that hit the thing,
that part I don't know about.
Inside,
I don't know about
I'd
that.
like to know how that happens. Didn't bounce off or anything. Okay.
So what's your point? So you think this is a conspiracy theory, and you think it's full of crap?
Yeah.
Okay. I've heard it. I've heard the serial number stuff. I have not looked at it because at this point, what does it matter?
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab.
Hold on. Can't hear you. What?
At this point, what difference does it make?
No, that's what I needed to say.
Yeah. Or I think she says, she actually puts, the way she phrases it is just, it's a little different.
Here
Anyway,
it is.
Jeff
What
McGraw,
difference at this point does it make?
Hold on. Here it is.
What difference at this point does it make?
There it is.
Yeah. What difference at this point does it make?
Yeah.
Jeff McReynolds is our top producer in the second half part of the show here for show 1094. $148.21 from Heath, Texas. He's going to be knighted.
Which means we do have to read this. Yeah, we got to read it.
I was saving this donation for the show 1100, but John's epic fail email sounded desperate. And desperate times need alcohol. Action. With this donation, I have now reached knighthood. It took me 3 years, but I'm finally here. So he's got some issues, which we'll take care of. He says, now for my fellow producers, what the hell? Fire up some donations. Don't let the M5M win. No Agenda is one of the most important shows in the podverse.
Podverse. I don't know if I like that.
Podverse. We're now in the podverse.
Yes.
The last thing we need is another advertiser-owned analysis show filling the void. It's a huge void. It would be without. What a huge void it would be without No Agenda. John was right in his email. The past two shows have been two of the best, and I'm not joking. You're just not helping them. You're helping me and the whole world. Donate now. You helping me and you. Okay.
Yes.
Anyway, thanks for all you do.
All right.
So he's going to be knighted as Sir Jeffro of the Rock Wall.
And he did want. Hold on. You know, he wanted a couple of jingles, and since I've been sitting here collecting them while you've been reading, we probably should at least play them since he's becoming a knight.
Where's he put this? Oh, there it is. Yeah, mac and cheese, too delicious to believe. Star Wars Sharpton, which was in most of the cookies, the fortune cookies.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
From Knights.
Was that the Michigan local one who did the fortune cookies?
Michigan local one did a bunch of Chinese fortune cookies, and 90% of the fortunes were what Sharpton says in this clip.
Well, it's coming.
You slaves can get used to mac and cheese, cheap macaroni and cheap cheddar melted together.
Mac and cheese.
It's almost too delicious to believe, my friend.
Star Wars. Everyone's going nuts about it.
You've got karma.
Maybe that's our ISO for today.
So I had that's a good one. So I had these cookies at the dinner with the millennials.
Yeah.
And they opened it up. What kind of a fortune is this?
not big listeners of the show, huh?
It's very funny. It's too bad the cookies. There's a couple of manufacturers in San Francisco that do this, because those cookies, I don't know where you got those, but they're terrible. Anyway, David Vossen, $144, belated Hanukkah donation, 144 from the Night of the Shape-Shifting Jews.
Thank you.
Please play my song at the end of the show if there's time.
Yeah, I'll do it.
John Harvey III, 125 from Nashville, Tennessee. Recent shows have been outstanding. Sir Ever of the Watt, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another Michigonian, apparently. Sir James in Las Vegas, Nevada, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. David Bowker in Nashville, Tennessee, 1, 2, 2, 3, 5.
He's got a birthday call out for himself.
Like
yes.
Birthday.
Yep. Got
it. Sir Vito, the Mountain Wop in Evergreen, Colorado, 111.73. Merry Christmas. Robert Marsh, 111.11. Hope this drunk donation helps. I don't know what Robert Marsh that is. Laura Wilson in Sammamish, Washington, 111.11. Sir Schwartz in someplace, Langfeld, Denmark, or I don't know what, I can't see because it's a bunch of characters.
Mm-hmm.
Lang something.
Langlauf.
Langlauf?
I have no idea.
Langley. Sir Brian Watson of the Grove in Sugar Grove, Illinois, 109.40. Anticipation of an outstanding show, 1094. You got it. Sir Milkman 10101. Sir Sean Mayock, North Carolina. Moyock, North Carolina. Really? 100. Andrew Murray, Playa del Rey, California. 100. Randy Carson in Pahrump, Nevada. 100. The whole area where there's lots of whorehouses, or used to be.
Woohoo!
Dan Homer, how would I know? Dan Homer in East Lansing, Michigan. Robert Tennant, that's $100. Also Robert Tennant, 100. Ian Trimble in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Watch out for the foamers, he says, 100. Julie McNeil in St. Gabriel, Louisiana. Interesting coincidence. Also 100. Sir Benjamin Rogers, 100 from Boone, Iowa. A lot of hundreds here. It's interesting. And anticipating Adam Curry's first visit to Des Moines.
Yes.
He already set up a meetup.
Well, don't you remember we announced that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the works.
Yeah.
February 22nd.
It's kind of an insult to the Texans who have been waiting all these years. Sir Matt Eskridge in Seattle, Washington, $100. Sir Corwin Underwood, $100 from Hamilton, Ohio. It's been a long time. Does he need douching now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's got it. Wait. This donation, he's got something. What is this? Have we missed one? He wants to protect. He's full Baron. Upgrade. It's not on the list.
Yeah, neither was Sir Chris Spears on the list. Okay, Sir Corwin Underwood and Baron of Southwest Ohio. Hold on a second. So, Sir Corwin Underwood, and he becomes Baron of... Okay, got it. Southwest Ohio.
Kurt Kubal in Wayzata, Minnesota. Nuts. 99.99, along with John Foley in Chicago with 99.99. Ryan Gilo, 9009. The two perky fake boobs. With some jobs, Karma give you that at the end. D.H. Slammer sent a note in with some interesting, with a nice.
He did. He actually, I have it here. He needed, here it is.
Karma.
Yeah, he said, in the morning, Crackpot and Buzzkill, if you wouldn't mind breaking for this Baron. Of course, we break for Barons. Unfortunately, emergency jobs karma is in order. If you could see clear to administer an on-the-spot jobs karma in the second donation segment, where my jingle requests usually do not get played, for my 9009 two perky boobs donation, that would be appreciated. Of course we can do that.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
John Clegg in Sunset Beach. 8888. Patrick Brandon, Bakersfield, 8686. Anthony Coble in Bismarck, North Dakota, 8008. Jeffrey Schwab, 8008. Nicholas Black, 8008. Jackson Butler, Levelland, Texas, 8008. He needs some jobs karma. You get that at the end. Craig Porter, Council Bluffs, Iowa. He should be at the meetup. Herb Lamb, 8008, up there somewhere. Elias, and it's Sir Herb Lamb, by the way. Sir Herb.
Mm-hmm.
Elias Kakesh, 8008. Can't go wrong with boobs, he mentions. Ryan Quick, 7733. And he says we got too much AOC on the show. Well, that ain't going away.
Nope.
Wayne Larcom, 6665. Derek Cope. That's funny. There's a Derek Cope NASCAR driver, but I don't think this is him. This guy's in Shanghai for $66. Joseph Yona in Tampa, Florida. Brian Leslie in Bremerton, Washington, 6006. Michael Astfalk is in Berlin, Deutschland, 6064. Brian Leslie, 6006. Chris Swimley, 6006 in Austin, Texas. Somebody's apologizing for something, I don't know. Anonymous, $60. Christopher Dechter, 5678. Joseph Henson, 5678 in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. Stephen Baker, 5555.
First name only? Oh, no, first name only. Eric did not do a good job on today's spreadsheet, sorry.
Yeah, he did a crappy job. He will get a memo.
In triplicate.
Port Townsend. He needs a L Sharpton gibberish. We did that earlier. Peter Tong, Lakewood, Washington. Alex Schoenveld in Seabrook, New Hampshire, 5555. Jay Helsel, I guess.
Helsel.
In Lenexa, Kansas.
Maybe Helsel. Helsel?
That's 5554 with Chris Belderama, 5510.
Double nickels on the dime.
Double nickels on the dime. Rory Buzka in Novi, Michigan, and he's got a note for us to read privately. Philip Veenstra, 5510. Jamie Graham, 5335. Chris Worth, Aurora, Colorado, 5280. Deron Christie, Spokane, Washington. Richard Adams, 51. Parts unknown. Just like my wife, you deserve better. Michael Kleckner, 5006. Anonymous.
Now, wait a minute. Michael Kleckner, ITM, with this donation, I have reached No Agenda Knighthood. Please knight me Sir Mike of Ewing. And he is Kilo Delta 2, Fox Delta X-Ray, 73s.
73s.
Kilo 5, Alpha Charlie Charlie on the JS8 call.
The what?
On the JS8 call.
Oh.
That's the new protocol, baby. All the kids are doing it. JS8 call.
All the kids are doing it.
It's a derivative of the FT8 protocol. Yeah.
Anonymous, 5001.
I'll see you there for a little QSO, John.
Yeah, I did do that. I'm going to design your card. Robert Bruckner. These are all $50 donors, name and location. Robert Bruckner, location unknown. Kimberly Redmond in Toronto. Jeffrey Chadwick in Ogden, Utah. Kwan, I think, Lou. Sir Reddy Kilowatt of the Troll Room. Eric Hoff in Edmonton, Alberta. Alan Peterson. John Hawley in Blaine, Minnesota. Max Turnquist in Somerville, Massachusetts. Jonathan Ferris in Liberal, Kansas. Sir Crack, parts unknown. Robert Kerback, I think, in Essexville, Michigan. Paul Ranum wants Jobs Karma in Cottonwood Heights, Utah. Good luck. I will put that at the end for you. Arjen van Elteren.
Yeah, he said, Arjen van Elteren from the Netherlands says, reverse Jobs Karma. I just got a job and promised myself to donate if karma works. Plus, I'm seeing 33 everywhere. Great shows. Oh, he's giving the karma back to us. Okay, great. Thank you, Arjen.
Sir Pate Snakes in Amsterdam, New Hampshire, it says. How does that work?
It's North Holland. North Holland.
North Holland. Paul Eaton, Raymond Chibnick, Ken Burkett, South Lake, Texas. Dame Patricia Worthington is always helping. In Miami, Robert Weber in San Jose, Roy Tenhava in Pinacker. There
you go.
Brandon Savoy in Port Orchard, Washington. Daniel Niwong, parts unknown. Robert
I think Daniel is in Sweden.
Perfect.
Looks like Daniel's in Sweden. Daniel Niwong.
Yeah, looks like he is too. Mark Johnson in Aurora, Colorado. Brett Yo in Catonsville, Maryland. Jason Clegg in San Diego, California. And wrapping up, we got Raleigh Hawk and Anna, Illinois.
That's Sir Lyman of the Net.
Oh, Sir Lyman of the Net. That's right. He's Sir Lyman of the Net.
Yep.
Sir Richard Gardner, which we know where he's from, but it's not on here. Then Zachary Hanslick in Jameson, Pennsylvania. Keep doing what you're doing. I think you all said Dvorak guilted me into this.
Good. Well,
whatever works.
These 50s are really nice. Thank you very much. And I think that's an appropriate value for value consideration when you think about going to the movies with two people, popcorn and a drink, and before you know it, it's $50. You only get an hour and a half in a dark room with a bunch of smelly people. Maybe you have a nice date. We can't really give you any of that, but look at the content you're getting. You're getting almost 3 hours here at the No Agenda Show, and that's all we ask for, is that you consider what is it worth to you, and that's how our value for value system works, and we really appreciate it. Also, everyone who came in under $50, either to be anonymous or you're on one of our programs, those are the ones that eventually will have a nice base for us. It takes a long time to build up a base with 11, 11, and 33s, but we really appreciate it. And as you'll see, there are also people who make it to knighthood easily, although it takes them 10 years, but they had no problem doing it and are very happy, and I think we're knighting a couple of them today. Also, some notes. Got another emergency jobs karma from Sir Peep Slayer. Could really use it. Be sure to tell the douchebags out there they need to chip in or go piss up a rope. Okay? We'll do that in a moment. Meetup.
No.
Do it immediately.
Jobs, jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
Well, there you go.
You've got karma.
We did the karma immediately. Meetup. Sir Will Code for Coffee, a knight, obviously, proud producer. He says, would you mind announcing a meetup? Levi Brederland and I are trying to arrange in Edmonton, Alberta, January 19th.
Ooh.
That's interesting. Is it really cold in Alberta?
Oh, are you nuts?
But can we
I was in Alberta once in July and it was snowing.
Tina has some days that she's carrying over into January, and we're looking for some. Well, the 19th. It may not be the 19th might not work.
The 19th of January in Alberta. That's where I want to go. By the way, I've been to Alberta a number of times, and I think it's one of the cutest little towns in Canada. It's not like, a spectacular beauty like Victoria, which is something to see, or even Ottawa. It's quite nice. It's kind of grimy in a funny kind of Midwestern way, and they have a lot of underground stuff going on. But there's something quaint and nice about Edmonton. I've always liked Edmonton.
Well, it's scheduled for the 19th. Interested producers can get in touch with Levi San or Will Code for Coffee on Twitter, or No Agenda Social, or the discussion on meetup.com. That's where I would suggest you go. And Mimi will jump in as well. Then we have from Sir Ladyfingers, Baron of the Miami Valley, a peerage dispute. Adam, I discovered that my protectorate of the Miami Valley has been threatened during the latest executive/associate executive producer segment. Corwin Underwood of Hamilton has staked all of Southwest Ohio. How can I idly stand by when one of my subjects seeks to supplant me? Please redress this alarming situation.
I willing to need some documentation. I need some notes on this from both parties involved, and I'll make a decision on behalf of the Peerage Committee.
And all decisions by the Peerage...
do it with alacrity.
And all decisions by the Peerage Committee are final.
Yes.
And cannot be disputed. Very much like...
disputed. They can be changed, but they can't be
disputed. Well, thank you all very much. And as we had some requests for some F cancer and some jobs, let's do them both right now.
Jobs, jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
It's your birthday.
And we always like to wrap up our donation segment with a look at the birthday calendar. For today, we have on the list for December 13, 2018, Joshua Landon turns 39 today. Sir Code Monkey says happy birthday to his brother Zach Zeisler. He'll be celebrating tomorrow on the 14th. So will Sir Chris Spears. Jeffrey Hadwick will celebrate on the 16th. And David Bowker, his birthday will be on the 22nd of December. We say happy birthday from everybody here at the best podcast in the universe. And we got one sword here. If we can get your sword, we got some. There we go. We've got 1, 2, 3. No, yes, 3 knights. So on the stage, please, Stephen Taylor, Lindsay Adams, and Jeff McReynolds. Gentlemen, you all three today join us here at the round table of the No Agenda Knights and Dames, and I'm very proud to pronounce the Kate B, Sir One Guy, Sir Reginald of Peppy T, and Sir Jeffro of the Rock Wall. For you, gentlemen, we have the requisite hookers and blow. We got Rent Boys and Chardonnay. We've got cookies and vodka. We got Pog and Poi, pinball and power chords, goat chops and goat milk, Polish potato vodka, brown cheese and aquavit and smallhove, pepperoni rolls and pale ales, breast milk and pablum, ginger ale and gerbils, bong hits and bourbon, Rubenesque women and rosé, and we've got mutton and mead. All of that can be obtained at noagendanation.com/rings. Please head over there. and give Eric the Shill your dimensions. We will get that off to you as soon as possible. And when you get it in, tweet out a picture. We really like seeing that and get everyone all excited about your joining our round table. And thank you all who supported episode 1094 of the No Agenda Show. And,
well, I got one here. This doesn't get a lot of play anywhere, but this is like a disgusting story. And this was on CBS, but it wasn't on the nightly news, at least. Maybe it was on the yesterday's, but I didn't get it. It was like an add-on. If you go to the website, they have these extra stories that you can watch that looks like they were supposed to be produced. Looks like they were produced for the news, but they were never used.
Yeah.
And this is the Rockefeller, or in this case, Rickefeller hospital scandal.
Patients and relatives of those treated at a famous research hospital here in New York are looking for answers tonight. They want to know why Rockefeller University stayed quiet about a prominent doctor who died 11 years ago, but is believed to have abused children for decades. Victims could number over 1,000, which would potentially make it the largest case of sexual abuse by one person in U.S. history. More on this now from Anna Warner. And a warning, some of the details you're about to hear are graphic.
He was revered like a god.
Matt Harris was one of thousands of former patients who saw Dr. Reginald Archibald as children at the prestigious Rockefeller Institute in New York City. Archibald was a highly regarded growth specialist who said he could help children who were not maturing like their peers.
He was like going to be our family's savior.
Archibald's research was supposed to help kids grow taller, but these former patients told us he sexually abused them. Harris was 14, Gail Coleman was 11, Robert Granado was 8, and Mitchell Schur was just 5.
The entire time you're in the room there with him, you're naked.
He took his finger and he pushed one of my nipples.
And he basically proceeded to masturbate me.
He would rub me there and start asking me, does this feel good?
In a statement in October, officials revealed they'd investigated a complaint about Archibald's inappropriate conduct in 2004 and reported it to authorities. But they also found complaints going back to the 1990s, some deemed credible. Attorney Jennifer Freeman says her firm has had hundreds of calls.
And so what does that say to you? That says that there are a tremendous number of victims out there.
It was probably a year after I started seeing him.
Yet these former patients say they never heard anything from the hospital until officials there sent out this letter in October to more than 1,000 of Archibald's former patients asking for information.
I got the letter, and all of a sudden, I felt like I was flashing back 50 years ago. It was burned in my brain, what he did to me.
What do you make of the hospital's statements?
I'm outraged.
Gail Coleman says she's particularly angry because the doctor took pictures. She and the others were told to stand without clothing, like the children in these old studies, while he took Polaroid photos of their naked bodies.
Those pictures are what has haunted me through the years.
In 2003, she contacted the hospital looking for answers.
And I got my medical records back, and there were no pictures. And that tells me they weren't for medical research, they were for him.
When something like this happens to you, you're kind of robbed of hope, robbed of, trusting people, trusting institutions, trusting humanity.
They had to know something was going on.
So if the hospital comes out and says, well, nobody inside our hospital knew what he was doing.
I don't believe it.
I can't believe that. The hospital has to take some responsibility for this.
Oh, my God. This bums me out. This is almost like the clip we had on the last show with the transgendering children.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I'm with these people who say that somebody had to know something. This is bull crap. This is like the Jimmy Savile thing.
Yeah, and where is this guy right now?
Dead.
Oh. Just like Jimmy Savile.
Yeah.
How long has he been dead?
I think he died in 2011. 7 years.
Ugh. All right, thanks. I'm totally grossed out now.
Well, it is gross. I find it, and I don't think CBS ran it in the regular news because it's for that reason.
It's too gross.
It's a disgusting story. Yeah. This guy's getting away with this. I'm going to show you how to grow here. Oh, look, you're growing now. I mean, the whole thing is gross. And it's like, Nobody's noticing. There's been complaints and nobody pays attention to it.
I don't know. I did get just speaking of.
You get called out pedophiles from guy playing Santa Claus at Macy's.
Yeah. So what's your point?
Well, the thing is, how about going after the real pedophiles, not the Santa, but this guy?
Well, he's dead.
No, well, they're going after him now, like Savile.
Yeah, I don't like this clip.
Anyway.
I did get a very thoughtful note from Allie. You know Allie? She's the official No Agenda tranny.
Okay. Where's she from?
Oh, I don't know. I think she's in some Midwestern state. Although she sent me the note. She said, note here from the official No Agenda tranny. I'm sorry, now known as the transgendered person. No, you can't say tranny. And she said something that made me think about what's really going on with the identity politics, particularly when it comes to transgendered people. Yes, transgendered people. And this was, I think, in response to the clip of the Los Angeles clinic that was, stopping puberty for kids as young as 6 or 7 to help them understand who they are before they continue with the right puberty. We even titled the show after that.
Yeah,
so,
right puberty.
Allie Jade says, I agree with you on the internet, social media influencing transgender cases, but not all are. And here's her point. I'm 31, and I just kind of question whatever the hell I was without the internet or any outside influences. My parents were religious and conservative. I'm not alone. And here's the thing. A lot of us older generations that came before the social media blast started churning out all the letters added to LGBT. Personally, most of us older ones do not like the loud, annoying trans social generation. Our goal was to move into a normal life, in her case, as a woman, not to live life as a transgendered person. And it was something that it was in my mind, I guess, for a long time. It's like, if you are transgendered and you truly believe that you were born in the wrong body and you need to become a man or a woman, then you just become a man or a woman. Isn't that the whole point? But why then is there this huge group that wants to identify as kind of stuck in between? Do you know what I mean?
You're asking me?
Well, no, it's kind of rhetorical. It's just, it seems like it's so wrong. You're either man or woman. I'm just going by today's social justice warrior notifications. And if you're transgender, okay, great. I believe that I'm a woman, and then I'm going to dress like a woman, going to act like a woman. I may have my body changed to be a woman. Then I'm a woman. Stop calling them transgendered unless you're really separating people. Do you know what I mean? It feels very wrong.
The point is to create oppressed classes.
Yeah.
That's what identity politics is.
Well, it's working.
Yeah, of course it is.
And people should reject it. They really should reject it.
These things are well thought out schemes.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's Trump's fault.
Well, hello. We all know that. Jeez. That was an easy one. Orange man bad. All right. Brexit still a cliffhanger as to what's going to happen. Theresa May still hanging on to power. But
now they can't do anything about her power for the next 12 months. When they do a no confidence
vote, if she gets through, then she gets through. Exactly.
Yeah, once you get through it, then you're good to go for the next year.
I would have voted no confidence right off the bat the minute I heard her in the prime minister question time. When she answered this question, I would have said, no confidence, kick her out.
So knowing you for 20 years, I just don't believe that if your deal goes down, you are the kind of person who would contemplate taking this country into a no-deal situation. Am I wrong?
It will be a decision for Parliament as to whether they accept the deal that I and the government have negotiated on behalf of the United Kingdom with the European Union.
The one she negotiated on behalf of the European Union. I mean,
yeah, there
the
you
United
go
Kingdom.
Again, this is one of the theses of people who are new listeners to this show. We have a theory that continues to pay dividends.
Yep.
Which is that the truth must always come out. There's a background for it that gives us belief that this is probably true, and that is people will slip up I guess it used to be called a Freudian slip, and then everyone laughed it off as a joke. Ha, 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 Freudian slip. But it's actually what's going on is they're saying things that they're telling us reality accidentally because they can't hold it.
It
together.
always wants to come out. It always wants to come out. It's a fact.
Yeah, so she's working on behalf of the EU. Of course she is.
Got a quick OTG. This is another study. It will not surprise you, but it's always fun to bring you the facts.
Some studies suggest adolescents and young adults exchange 60 to 100 text messages a day. But what about at night when they're sleeping? Well, apparently the texting doesn't stop there either. It's called sleep texting. Really?
How do you text if you're sleeping?
Really?
How is that possible?
A new study from a Villanova College of Nursing professor says a growing number of college students are texting friends in the wee hours of the night with no recollection of having done so. More than 25% of the kids surveyed said they texted in their sleep. 72% of them say they don't remember doing it.
People have gotten used to sleeping next to their devices. So subconsciously, people are falling off to sleep, and there may be some angst about communicating with someone and trying to get a message to someone. And they're reaching for the phone and communicating in this kind of altered state of consciousness.
The problem here, say experts, is that sleep texting causes interrupted sleep, which can affect someone mentally, physically, and more.
It affects you emotionally because people become more anxious and more depressed when they haven't had enough sleep.
And now sleep texting appears to be more frequent. The solution, say experts, ditch the phone and the electronics, get them out of the bedroom, and give your brain the rest it needs.
I got to tell you, if you're sleep texting, you are definitely an NPC in the game. You're just running your program.
Well, I want to mention a couple of things. One is that people, unfortunately, use these stupid phones as their alarm clocks.
Yes.
So they're not getting them out of the bedroom. This story I want to follow up on at some later date.
On the alarm clock side of it?
No, on this whole story, whether it's
sleep
true
texting? Gotcha.
I'm skeptical.
All right, everybody. A couple more days, and then we'll see what's happening with Sunday's deconstruction. There's a lot happening, and you're not seeing it on your cable news networks. That's for sure. So forever scanning the airwaves of Pluto TV, Dan coming to you from downtown Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State, FEMA Region 6 on the governmental maps in the 5x9 Pluto, here in the common law condo while it still lasts. Hello, Apple. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, which is located in the original California, not some interloper, I'm John C. Dvorak.
And we return on Sunday right here on No Agenda. Remember, Dvorak.org/NA. Until then, adios, mofos.
Donate to a No Agenda. They give us shows week after week. Donate to a No Agenda. It's a show that's really unique. Donate to a No Agenda. Listen to John and Adam speak. Donate to a No Agenda. Science is turning into a clique.
Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Trump, and a speechless Mike Pence.
Did not have a Trump shutdown.
It's called funding the government, Mr. President.
We have terrorists. We caught 10 terrorists over the last very short period of time. 10.
We have a disagreement about the wall, Washington, whether it's effective or not. Not on border security, but on the wall. The wall.
I think the American people recognize that we must keep government open.
The wall.
If you really want to find out how effective a wall is, just ask Israel. 99.9% effective. And our wall will be every bit as good as that, if not better. So the wall will get built. The wall, if we thought we were going to get it passed in the Senate, Nancy, we would do it immediately. We'd get it passed very easily in the House. We would get it, Nancy, I'd have it passed in 2 seconds. The wall. I am proud to shut down the government for border security, Chuck.
Wall.
The wall. You need the wall. The wall is excuse me, did we win the Senate? We won the Senate.
When the president brags that he won North Dakota and Indiana, he's in real trouble.
When I did. Let me say this. We did win North Dakota. This is the most unfortunate. Please don't characterize
the strength that I bring to this meeting as the leader of the House Democrats who just won a big victory.
Elections have consequences, Mr. President.
Let me just say.
The wall. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Hey, Khashoggi, who'll kill Khashoggi? Who'll kill him there?
Roll up for the magical shape-shifting Jews. Step right this way. Roll up for the shape-shifting Jews. Roll up, the magical shape-shifting Jews. Roll up, a little illustration. The magical shape-shifting Jews. Roll up, it's such an aggravation. The magical shape-shifting Jews.
The best podcast in the universe.
Mopo.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Just remarkable.